This is the Rich Eisen Show.
You got a big surprise coming to you.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
Bruce Arians, I'm sure you've heard a lot of the conversation about why you stepped aside and how you and Brady didn't get along.
We've got a great relationship, and it's never been soured.
The Rich Eisen Show. Today's guests. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero, Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, plus Cardinals running back James Conner. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Yes, it is. Welcome to this edition of the Rich Eisen Show, everybody. It is the Wednesday before Labor Day weekend here in Los Angeles, California, Big Ten country. Here on the Rich Eisen Show, we say hello to everybody listening coast to coast on the Rich Eisen Show terrestrial radio network. Thanks to our friends at Westwood One and Cumulus as well. Those are the ones who put out our podcast version of this show every day. All 3 hours are available to you where all podcasts are acquired. We say hello to you. You're listening whenever you darn well please. And same, we say hello to our audience on Odyssey, those who are streaming us into their eargate coast to coast. YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show, not only home to the Rich Eisen Show, almost 8 years of archive material, also home to whatever you may miss over the next 3 hours, and also home currently to the live video viewing audience of the Rich Eisen Show. That those days are dwindling, to be very honest with you. We're going to be on in September, which starts tomorrow, on Roku. The Roku channel is home for us, and we're streaming free this September. It does not start tomorrow. We're here on our YouTube stream for the rest of this week. And we say, again, to everybody who watches us on our YouTube stream, thank you for that. Thanks for sticking with us as we've swapped television partners. We're going to be coming to the Roku channel for free on all Roku devices, select Samsung televisions, Fire TV, mobile devices. You can just download the Roku app. The Roku channel is free on it. And the RokuChannel.com for those who watch us on desktops. You can stream us for free there as well. The key word is free. 844-204-RICH, number to dial over the next 3 hours to have a conversation with us, just like we're going to have with Tom Pelissero, my colleague from the NFL Network and NFL Media Group, with all the cuts now essentially done. Everybody down to 53-man rosters across the National Football League. He's going to tell us what's of interest to him and what is not. We heard from Kyle Shanahan yesterday on the shocker of the week that Jimmy Garoppolo is staying put with the Niners as the backup quarterback, a role he accepts, a role that he not only accepts just mentally, but also financially. He took a pay cut to stay with the 49ers in this role. Trey Lance is apparently cool with it as well. And if you missed what Kyle Shanahan had to say, we'll play that for you over the next 3 hours. Talk about it with Tom Pelissero. We've got not one, but two National Football League Pro Bowl players of note to talk to you and talk with us. Mark Andrews, the tight end of the Baltimore Ravens, sat next to him and his mom at the NFL Honors. Susie and I did. Oh. That was the last time I saw Mark Andrews. Nice. He will be on this program, top of hour number 2. And then right after him, James Conner, coming off of a career year with the Arizona Cardinals, with whom he has stuck. He will join us 20 minutes after the hour. And then Chris Brockman, you, sir, are unveiling a new segment in hour number 3. What is that you're unveiling on this program today?
I've done this in the past on my old website and richeisenshow.com. Burning questions, where I'm going to unveil where I have the teams ranked heading into the season in reverse, starting at 32. We're going to do 32 to 26 today.
Is that the questions burning in advance? Is that what that is?
Well, sizzling. That's sizzling, baby. Hot takes. And I'm going to ask just kind of a general question that I'm thinking about each team heading into the year.
And then I will comment on it.
You guys will comment on it.
You guys being all of us.
All of it. Everybody.
Like Jay Felly. Good to see you where you are.
Hey,
good to see you. Good to see you, sir, here on this last day of August. And good to see TJ Jefferson lighting the candle. What's up, sir? Oh, my God.
Hey.
A tradition unlike any other. TJ's mic not
TJ's saying,
honestly, I did that one on purpose.
No, you did not.
I 1,000% did. My mic
way.
was off, and then I...
Oh, God. Good to see you over there.
Wow.
What's going on over there, TJ? No, that's not good for our radio audience, what you're doing right over there. Good
I'm
to
just
see
playing
you.
with you. I'm great.
All right, very good. TJ Jefferson is here, everybody.
Wow.
Okay, very good.
Can we have some fun or no, man?
Here we are.
I mean, I'd like to hear the fun.
It's true.
Yeah.
So would all of everyone listening on our podcast, Odyssey, and the Rich Eisen Show terrestrial radio network. You know what? I don't know why I'm into this thing right now, but I'm into them. And I'm into it. And I'm not a fan of lists in our sports world.
Everybody loves lists, Rich.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
You know what it is? Easily digestible. Everyone knows 1 through 5, 5 through 1.
Yeah, I just remember the top 10 is the only Sports Center anchor not really into the top 10s. You know, the top 10 highlights I'm like, what's the difference between highlight 7 and highlight 9? Really? Like, the highlight 9's not as good as 7? What's a dunk? One's a dunk, one's a home run. Honestly, that's what I'm saying. What, like the dunk's better than the home run? The production assistant who's ranking it, it's like, you know what? That should be 3.
Situation
it's 5.
matters.
It should be 3. Why don't you swap 3 and 5? It's just like, it's so subjective, but it's also just ordering it out of just listing. What are we listing? Why do we list? What's a power ranking anyway? One's more powerful than the other? You know, top 100 list. Oh, God, you know what? Number 65, Derek Carr 65, and Russ is 61. Just 4 numbers apart? Really? That's it? 4 numbers apart? You're going to put an offensive lineman here and not, that person there, and then we start arguing?
Mac Jones was 85.
You know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
So he's 20 spots worse than Derek Carr's only 20 spots better than Mac Jones? Really?
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like that's so on and so forth.
Should have been a little higher. Are we really going to debate top 100? Because I'm kind of into it.
I don't know if I'm just softening in my older age. I'm 53 with a lot of S going on, and I honestly don't. I'm into the list now. I'm into my top 5s. Maybe it's your big ass grab bag that's been inspiring me every single Friday, TJ. I don't know.
Kind of breaking down the list wall.
It's what you have. Yeah, you've chipped away. You chipped away at my hard demeanor.
I'm just trying to do my part here.
You know, I had my top.
Speaking of walls, Rich, R.I.P. Mikhail Gorbachev.
Tear down that wall, right? Okay, wow.
That came out of nowhere.
Jeez.
Wall, I'm just connecting dots. I mean, we're an international show.
That is true.
Coming up later in hour number 3, Chris Brockman's burning questions about Leonid Brezhnev.
Menachem Begin.
Definitely not Russian.
No.
At any rate, I'm into the list. I'm into the list. I came with a top 5 list of the top 5 sleeper teams. I had a top 5 storylines that I was talking myself into in June, and then I came up with 5 more. What else have I done lately? My top 5s.
Oh man.
I don't know. They're so memorable.
We did a lot over the off
So I got another one.
You forgot already? You've only done like 6.
No, they're just you know what? Later on this, maybe before the season, I'll have my top 5 lists that I've come up with. Yeah, I don't know how it just. I don't know. This is a list world. We're into lists.
We do.
People are into bottom. Like you look at some shows on TV and you can't. They shrink the screen. What the actual show is only taking up a third of the screen. No, seriously, I'm looking at Get Up right now, and I can't even see. I can't even see the beautiful beard and hair combo of Greeny.
Is it Greeny back?
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh man, he was gone.
You got a square, and then a bigger square, and then a bigger, and then down the side are like betting lines and underneath. I mean, whatever. Lists. I got one.
Let's go.
I got another one. You ready? I need NFL Films music, Jay Felly. I need NFL Films music all set up. And if this lights up a phone line, so be it.
They're not already lit?
I don't know. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Top 5 quarterbacks in 2022 that you want to have in a must-win game. Dak Prescott, spoiler alert, not on the list.
No, this list is not valid.
Top 5 quarterbacks that you want to have in a must-win, do or die 2022 National Football League game. And I'm going to start with the controversy. I don't think the top of the list is very controversial, but the bottom might be. Because I'm putting on this list at number 5 a guy that has been battered and banged up in recent days about not being able to win the big one for his team, despite the winning of the regular season, setting him up not only with the top seed in his conference, but also most valuable player awards, plural.
Oh, more than one.
Aaron Rodgers is number 5 on this list.
Rodgers.
Yes,
Really?
He is. Everybody's like, well, guess what? They're the top seed. Guess what? He's the MVP. Who cares? Because when it comes to actually winning in Lambeau Field, couldn't get past Tom Brady a couple years ago. Couldn't get past a guy who has now taken an $18 million pay cut to be a backup for the team that's passed him over. Yeah, they lost to Jimmy Garoppolo at home. And it's all set up. But Aaron Rodgers is still the MVP of this league. He is still neck up one of the top quarterbacks in the history of this league. and the throws that he puts on his receivers. Everyone's talking about catchable balls. Everyone's talking about accurate football throwing. Aaron Rodgers is still the top of the class, elite of the elite. And when you put all that together, you need that guy under center in shotgun in a must-win game, and certainly can win it with his legs as well. It's just, S happens. He's a 39-year-old guy, and he's got a lot of S going on, 38.
Something like that.
He's still number 5 on my list, and I know that's controversial, and certainly in Packerland, for those who might be like, well, who's above him? And number 4 on my list is somebody who's hardly done it at all in the NFL, but I'm taking him because he has shown the ability to win must-win games towards the end of last year and throughout the playoffs last year. I am taking Joe Burrow, number 4 in this list. To win a must-win game in the NFL in 2022, I am taking a guy who's taken it in the chin repeatedly over and over and over again and gets back up and wins football games and figures out how to do it, moves the chains when he needs to, not only to set up his, dynamite ice in veins place kicker, but also to keep you from getting the ball back. This guy has all of that and the biscuit and the swagger that you need in the huddle after the post-game press, during the post-game press conference to set things up for your next week. You want a must-win game quarterback in 2022? That seems to be Joe Burrow to me. And I know I'm taking somebody who's hardly done it over a guy on a list, because lists you got to order them, in Aaron Rodgers. Number 3 on this list is a guy who has taken it absolutely from all comers. We're now in this stage of his career where he's got to have 90 touchdowns to win MVP because he's won it before. He's got to have at least a perfect postseason, perfect clean sheet postseason, and win it all and the MVP because he's done that before too, in order to be considered still one of the greats when it comes to receivers who have left him, and it comes to unnamed defensive coordinators who say all he does is play street ball. I'll take his street ball in a must-win game. Patrick Mahomes is number 3 on this list.
Yeah, he should probably be higher.
He's number 3 on this list. For me, I'm taking him when you've got to win a football game, and I know I'm taking him over the guy who beat him in the AFC Championship game last year, but that's my list, and I'm sticking to it. And I'm taking over him as number 2 on my list, the guy who he beat in the AFC divisional round, although it just goes to show you that even if you have this quarterback under center in shotgun in a must-win game, you still, with all due respect, sorry to bring it up, you still need to make sure you finish the last 13 seconds of the game to back up his play. I am taking Josh Allen, number 2 on this list, the Mandalorian quarterback, as I have called him, because this is the way he shows the Buffalo Bills his way, and the defenses just wilt when Josh Allen has the football and has everything going his way. You just feel every drop back is going to be a chunk play, a scoring play, or a totally demoralizing run by this guy once all breaks down. And he just takes it right up the gut on you and just hits you in the mouth, or he leapfrogs you. You just feel there's a sense of inevitability when he gets things rolling at the quarterback position. And that's why I take Josh Allen, number 2 in a must-win game. But number 1 on this list is number 1 on every list. And this guy is 45 years old, and you cannot bet against him. And in any must-win game of his entire career, more often than not, he comes out on top. And, of course, it's Tom Brady atop this list.
Absolutely.
In 2022, it's still the same as 2002. You want the kid. Now he's just a GOAT. And that's that. I don't think I need to back up my words at all, other than the fact that he's Tom friggin' Brady. And you go take somebody else if you want to win a must-win game. I'll take him.
Yeah, it's like I'm Chevy Chase and you're not. He's Tom Brady
and you're not.
You're not.
And that right there is my top 5 list of quarterbacks that you want to have in a must-win game in 2022 in the NFL season that is about to start in a couple Thursdays. What's your list? We'd like to know. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. I'll take it. We'll take your phone calls here on this program. Tom Pelissero will join us. What is with all these quarterbacks that just got blown out yesterday? Leaving some teams with only one quarterback for just a split second.
Really bizarre.
Remember when Mike Zimmer said last year when the Vikings were eliminated, they're playing their final game of the season, some reporter said, do you want to see any of Kellen Mond in Week 18? No. Why not? And his answer was, see him every day.
See him every day.
And you're like, okay.
Like, wow.
Guess Zim doesn't like
right.
Kellen Mond. Guess he was drafted against his wishes, huh?
All right.
Well, all
Wasn't
right.
he a third-round pick?
Let's
All
move
right.
on. Well, guess what? The Vikings cut him yesterday because Big Nick Mullins, they signed him. Yesterday, I went on the air and I'm talking about, you know what? The Niners, they just didn't want to go into the season with Nate Sudfeld. That's why they signed Jimmy Garoppolo. Right. Guess what? They didn't want to go into the season with Nate Sudfeld, even with Jimmy Garoppolo. They were going to start Brock Purdy, they said, at number 2. They were going to back up Lance with Purdy, which I guess wasn't a very Purdy picture for him.
Hey, now.
Thank you. I just literally made that up. I swear to you.
Dad jokes.
Dad
By the way,
jokes?
that would have been better than the situation they have now.
Untrue. So false.
This is insane.
Well, let's talk about that in hour number 3 after your burning questions, after we talk to Mark Andrews and James Conner. And coming back on this program, we'll talk to Tom Pelissero, and we'll talk to you throughout at 844-204-RICH here on this radio network, as well as youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Yes, we're back. Hey, everybody. All right.
Someone in the chat just had a great idea for a top 5.
Okay.
It's the top 5, but it's numbers 6 to 10 of a top 10.
But that's not top 5.
Well, it is. You're only listing.
That's called a bottom 5.
What's
Sure.
still 5?
Bottom 5 of 10.
It's but
It's too much.
but instead of being the best, you're doing with the
who's the
second
person in
tier
the chat who
list.
said that?
Elliot Alderson.
Hey, Elliot. Elliot. In this business, you got to keep things simple. You can't just say it's a top 5, but it's 6 through 10. It's not my top 5. It's actually my bottom 5. Well, bottom 5, that means that 32 through 27, you're talking about the NFL. No. It's the bottom 5 of my top 10. You know what I mean? Like it's Elliot, it's a little bit too esoteric. I appreciate the subversiveness. I appreciate the subversiveness of it.
He's just looking to change things outside
I don't think it's
the box.
workable. I don't think it's workable.
I think it is. Because
So it's what? It's a top 5, but it's not a top 5.
As
It's
you
actually
know,
a bottom 5 of
I'm
my
not
top
held
10.
by some numbers. It's
Bottom
either-
half? You would call it the
Well,
bottom
TJ's
half?
top 5 has 7.
Yeah. So you know what? You can do whatever you
know what I
want.
mean?
It's your list.
Yeah, but when you say, hey, here's my top 5, but my first one is something that's not in my top 5, but I got to actually give it a little honorable mention.
Yeah, why not, man? Again, we're having fun.
Because it's confusing.
To who?
Everybody. Me. I'm the host, and I'm sitting 15 feet away from you.
You're a smart man, Rich. I think you get it, and I think the people get it.
Elliot sounds like a smart person because he's so subversive. What a great idea, Elliot.
Give them all you got.
The mid 5. We don't have to call it top 5.
But it's not mid either.
See, now you're thinking too much, Rich.
Second 5?
No,
Second
you
5.
are, man.
The
You're thinking too
Second
much.
5.
Second 5.
Bench. Top bench.
Top bench. Top 5 bench. Top 5.
Second 5.
I'm going to do a
It's
top 5 with 10
instead of a
on it.
top 5, it's a second 5.
It's a second 5.
Nah, I don't like the idea.
Who's your second 5 quarterbacks?
Of that?
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head,
Yep.
I'd go.
You got 1 minute.
I know I have 1 minute. I'm aware of that. I'd go Lamar.
He's in all of our
I'd
ears.
go Lamar, Justin Herbert,
Oh.
Derek Carr.
One playoff win combined.
That's why they're in the second 5. Oh, Stafford. By the way, Stafford is the second most fourth quarter comebacks in the history of the NFL, right after
Stafford
Brady.
is criminally underrated.
Should have been.
So I'd go
Criminally
Stafford.
underrated.
I'd go Stafford. Right?
And
Russ?
Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. See, that's not as great as it's not a great a list. Because then everyone's like, well, who's your top 5?
No Herbert?
Nah.
No Herbert?
I did. I said that Herbert.
Okay.
I said Herbert, Carr, Russ, Lamar.
I see.
You know, there you have it.
Kyler?
I think.
I don't know.
844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the Rich Eisen Show. To our terrestrial radio audience, we just spent the last several minutes diluting my top 5 list.
Aaron Rodgers at number 5 just seemed low to me.
Let's talk about that a little bit more
shouldn't
here.
even be on
Let's take a 20-second timeout. That's actually longer than that. Here on the Rich Eisen Show, and turn to the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. Our good friend back here on the Rich Eisen Show from the NFL Media Group is Tom Pelissero. How you doing, Tom?
That felt like a lot of math to start a segment, Rick.
It was. It was too much, and I'm more verbal than anything else. Let's just jump into it. The cut day story is which? What? The cut day story.
I think that the cut down day story was really that there wasn't, now granted, we still got some ripple effects. There's this long window here this week before rosters truly get set, but there wasn't really that, shocking move. The biggest trade that got done was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson being traded from the Saints to the Eagles. He'll play safety there for him and be a starter and hopes that he can cash in. That obviously lends a different dynamic to the Eagles defense, because when, you always know when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is on the field, and opponents definitely know when he's on the field. So that was a significant move, but, Jimmy Garoppolo not going to a new team, that was something that had kind of been in the works for a week or so. The fact that got done, that was part of it, but you didn't have that, out of left field type of massive earth-shaking trade, though again, it's early here, and by moving cut downs up from Saturday to Tuesday, you kind of create this little bit of a vacuum where some teams are holding on to players in, hopes or thinking that maybe there's still a trade to be had here in the coming days.
So why did the Saints trade away a player who the Eagles can maybe win a Super Bowl with? Why can't the Saints can't hold on to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? What happened there?
He's in a contract year, and they had offered him what they thought was a strong deal for the nickel market. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is watching Derwin James and Minka Fitzpatrick and all these safeties getting paid about double what the top of the nickel market is. He's thinking he should be paid at that level, even though he spent about 2/3 of his snaps in New Orleans playing the slot. So he and his agent, Kevin Connor, basically said, we're not going to engage on this. The Saints then turn their attention to a trade, and they end up finding a team in the Eagles that actually will play him at safety. And if Gardner-Johnson plays the way that he has in the past at a new position here, he could be a very rich man in the not too distant future.
So what's also with all of the backup quarterbacks who got cut yesterday, what was that all about? I mean, you spend all spring and OTAs and training camp bringing these guys along, and then all of a sudden, see you later, and they start swapping them out right before the beginning of the season. What happened there?
It's a a combination of factors. Detroit is kind of on their own where they knew, and they were actually public about it, that they didn't think that they had a number 2 quarterback on their team. They didn't think that David Blau or Tim Boyle stepped up. And then, Nate Sudfeld ends up getting let go, which was a product of Jimmy Garoppolo staying and the fact that Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, had been very relevant in camp. I got a chance to see him live. I mean, he looks like an NFL quarterback, a guy who's got a shot, so they keep him. Sudfeld then ends up coming available, and Detroit signs him and cuts Blau late last night. But a lot of the other ones is a product of, a couple of things. One, the way that the injured reserve rules are set, that you need to hold the player until 4 o'clock today before putting them on IR to be eligible to return during the season. So there's teams that are kind of floating veterans who they know are unlikely to sign someplace else. You can't actually enter into an agreement, but you can have, certainly there's plenty of teams that wink nods with players that, hey, we're going to bring you back once this IR stuff settles. And then the other factor is the COVID rules regarding veterans on the practice squad, and the fact that you have expanded practice squads were so popular among clubs that they actually voted to adopt a good number of those. So you now can have veterans on practice squads. And so a lot of these vested players, when you're talking about, off the top of my head, guys like Cooper Rush and Josh Johnson, there's other ones, Logan Woodside, you probably can, in some cases they haven't got to go through waivers, but you can bring guys back on the practice squad, then have elevations to bring them up for at least the first few weeks. Again, it takes a while for rosters to settle, and teams like flexibility. That's what these new rules give them. It just so happens that a lot of these backup quarterbacks end up being in this little bit of a limbo where you're going to be back. We want you back, but it might be the 53 or it might be the practice squad for a minute, and it might not be till Friday because you got these IR things. It's a product of the rules. A lot of these guys are going to be back with the same team.
Tom Pelissero here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's linger on the Cowboys a little bit here, Tom. Dak Prescott's the only quarterback on their 53-man. What's up with that? And clearly they're going to go with the rookie to replace Tyron Smith, correct? That's what they're going to do here?
It sure looks like they're going in-house, and Tyler Smith would be the logical man up. It's a lot to ask of a player who was in a competition at guard and probably was not going to win the competition at guard now to go and start at left tackle. But the people I've spoken to in Dallas are all expressing confidence that they've got enough guys, they've got the right people in place. They've thought about this. I mean, Tyron Smith has missed a ton of games. You look back over through going back to the 2020 season, he's missed about twice as many games as he's played, if you include the time he's going to miss this season. So they were planning for that. That's why they drafted Tyler Smith. This is one of those future is now moments under unfortunate circumstances. But I anticipate Tyler Smith quite possibly is going to be the starting left tackle. They may not, say anything on that though until they actually line up in week one. And in terms of backing up Dak Prescott, that's another situation where I would anticipate that both Cooper Rush, who's vested, so he can immediately re-sign it, in a little bit here once the personnel notice comes out, he can re-sign to the practice squad. And then if Will Grier clears waivers, they'll in all likelihood bring him back too and have 3 guys on the roster, even if they're not on the 53.
Right, but somebody's going to have to back him up when toe meets ball on Sunday Night Football, right? I mean, that's going to have to happen.
Right, but you've got the elevations. You still can do several, it started out as the COVID elevations. Now you can have standard elevations where you bring them up. They're technically still on your practice squad, but you can do it, I believe, 3 times now without having to pass back through waivers. So they could bring up a Will Grier, bring up Cooper Rush
there you go.
For the first 3 weeks. And then again, maybe somebody gets hurt. Now you got a 53 spot, and you actually bring them up to the 53 come week 4. That's just kind of how the rules are set up.
Tom Pelissero here on the Rich Eisen Show. So when Jimmy Garoppolo re-signs or redoes his contract to stay put with the 49ers, if there was a GoPro on John Schneider, the GM of the Seattle Seahawks, what would it say? Him pounding the table, or him just smiling, laughing, or not having anything to think about it because they weren't going to go in that direction anyway? What do you got for me on that front?
From my understanding, that the Seattle aspect of this with Jimmy Garoppolo was overblown. If he were to be released, would they have had interest? Sure. They always are in on, talking to different guys. But, in terms of them trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, that was always far-fetched. They think that in Geno Smith and Drew Lock, they've got a couple of good enough quarterbacks that they can play the way that they want to this season. Not to say that Garoppolo wouldn't be an upgrade, but they weren't, making big offers and the 49ers were turning it down. This was a product of the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo kind of figured out that each other were the best option. For Garoppolo, I'm sure people thinking, okay, why would Jimmy take this massive pay cut and go back to be a backup? Well, on the flip side of that, where else was he going to go? Where was he going to go and make more money and have a better chance to succeed? This was all about getting healthy and being able to preserve his earning power for 2023. So he accomplished that. And, he'll go back, and whether he plays there, maybe he gets traded before the deadline, or if he, ends up playing out the season or riding the bench for the full season, he'll end up being one of the frontline guys in free agency in 2023.
Well, I didn't think Seattle was going to ever trade for him. I mean, my gosh, trade partners between the 49ers and the Seahawks, I can't even conceive that at the quarterback spot, too. Certainly if Seattle's in a tight spot in their quarterback room, and a lot of the rest of the league believes that they are. Seattle may not, but the rest of the league believes that they are, and thought that potentially Garoppolo would be cut. And the fact that he wasn't was the surprise. And I know that they decided that they would be best for each other. Is it best for Trey Lance is the question. Walk me through that process best that you could tell there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was certainly part of it, but this was something they were thinking about going back months. I mean, literally months. That they had the thought going all the way back to March that this was a possibility. Once Jimmy had the surgery, that skewed the timeline, and so there was a consideration that the 49ers were ultimately, regardless of what they said publicly, could end up with him back in the fold. It certainly looked like there were possibilities of a trade, that there were possibilities of different things that could happen. But, this was always something that was in the back of their heads. To Trey Lance's credit, is this a comfortable situation? No, but it's the same room you had last year. They've thrown their full weight behind Trey Lance as the starter, and it just changes the dynamic of if he struggles out of the gate, you're going to face a lot of questions, and that's, what they've kind of raised on themselves here.
Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's the deal with Lamar's contract now that we are, let me get this straight, about 12 days away from the start of the season and this being put on the back burner if it doesn't happen?
Well, it's a complicated deal to do. Lamar has shed via via some Twitter comments that, where things stand in terms of they haven't offered a fully guaranteed contract to him, up at the level that he's been looking for. So, yeah, I mean, at some point you would think this could go all the way up till Saturday. They definitely would like to get a deal done. Lamar on some level has to want to get a deal done, but, they've been unwilling to take anything less than the level of contract that, Deshaun Watson got. So it's, again, this will go all the way down to the wire. It's a big bet by Lamar, but remember, he's also making a lot more money this year than he was last year. So to the extent that he's taking this risk on himself, the real risk was last year playing for like $2 million. This year playing for, substantially more than that is, somewhat less of a risk. But certainly if you're leaving that type of money on the table, it's a big gamble going forward.
So, okay, there's a couple things here on that front. So the Deshaun Watson contract, where he gets every dollar guaranteed with, 24 plus civil lawsuits hanging over his head, that contract that the Browns gave Watson, the Cardinals get a contract signed with their guy, Kyler Murray, and it doesn't have every dollar guaranteed like Watson's. So the Cardinals were able to get through signing their guy with Watson's contract not blowing the whole thing up. And the Ravens now are the ones caught in the trap of the Watson contract, is what you're saying right now?
Correct. And every team that had a quarterback contract coming up knew when that deal got done that this could be a massive problem going forward. I mean, that was the reality of it, was that this could be a real problem for other teams to get deals done. The Kyler contract is a little different because if you just look at the nuts and bolts of his deal, it's a strong deal for Kyler Murray because he didn't have leverage. He was due like $5 million this season. What was he going to do? He could sit out He could cause a stink, but ultimately there was only so much they could do. With Deshaun, and even Lamar Jackson, he's entering his 5th-year option year, and, they could tag him twice. So he does not have necessarily the highest amount of leverage. Deshaun Watson, very serious allegations of sexual misconduct, uncertainty about him being suspended this year. But when he became available, as one league executive put it to me at the time, that wasn't a trade. That was free agency. He had 4 or 5 teams bidding against each other. The Browns at one point were told, you're out. They got back in by coming up with that contract. So again, regardless of what was going on and serious allegations off the field, from a football perspective, Deshaun Watson had a virtually unprecedented level of leverage in the negotiation. It's the only reason that deal gets done. There are a lot of teams that are still mad at the Browns about that deal. And, look, even within the division, not just Lamar Jackson, but you can bet when Joe Burrow is coming up on a new contract and he'll be eligible after this season, his agent is going to want a fully guaranteed contract. And the question then becomes, at some point, number one, do the rules change? Does the funding rule change so that owners don't have to start putting $200 million in escrow to fund these contracts? Or two, is there a push among the agents then that, okay, if you're not going to do a fully guaranteed 5 or 6-year deal, we want to do a fully guaranteed, let's say, 3-year deal, and say we're not going to sign for anything beyond that. In other words, historically, teams have done these, big guarantees in year one, a lot of money up front, but then basically bought up future years 4, 5, 6 that aren't guaranteed. You've seen it in the receiver market that all the top receivers right now are getting 3-year deals, and that comes down to individual contract precedent. If teams are not going to buy into the Browns as a precedent on a fully guaranteed 5-year deal, you could certainly see an environment where the agents start saying, that's fine, but we're not taking any non-guaranteed money on this deal. Let's start talking about a 3-year extension. And we'd have to see whether that's the way the quarterback market goes as the receiver.
Wow, because next up is Burrow and Herbert, which is part of the reason why I think the Bengals finally decided to sell a naming right to their stadium. So that's coming up after this playing season. But for the here and now, Lamar Jackson, the Deshaun Watson contract is, in fact, screwing up what the Ravens are trying to do with their guy. And I'm not saying that Lamar's wrong for taking this stance. So all said and done, did Kyler do the Cardinals a favor not having this stance? Because the Cardinals could have been first up on that train that the Ravens are driving and riding on right now.
Right. But again, Kyler had think about this. Okay, if you're Kyler, what do you do? $5 million this year, 5th-year option in 2023, 2 tags beyond that. That's 4 years of team control. So for Kyler, at some point, it's you take this deal that gives you this massive raise. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say he went from making $5 million this year to $30 million this year, and it's $90 or $100 million over 3 years. You're starting the money train rolling now. And by the time you get 3 or 4 years into that deal, they're probably looking to do a new deal, as opposed to you trying to play out this year, potentially holding out half the season, then playing next year. You would have to go so far down the line. That's why nobody was able to replicate what Kirk Cousins did. He got 3 years, $84 million, fully guaranteed from the Vikings. That was that shorter-term, fully guaranteed deal. Nobody was able to replicate that, but nobody did what Cousins did, which was play out his rookie contract as a 4th-round pick, so he didn't have the 5th-year option, which ends up being an advantage, gets tagged once, plays through that, he's going to get tagged again. Only because of that is he able to get to the market. Lamar could do the same thing, but because he was a first-round pick, you're talking about 7 years, presuming that they tag him twice. So 7 years total in his career, 2 more seasons beyond this one before you would have that type of leverage. That's why Deshaun Watson, again, had the football leverage to get that contract done, because everyone knew, okay, this guy is essentially a free agent. The Texans are moving on from him. We all know it's going to be 3 first-round picks and more. Now you are just bidding with the contracts. And how did the Cleveland Browns ultimately get him? Yes, Deshaun Watson liked what he heard from Jimmy Haslam. He liked what he heard from the coaching staff. He had weapons in Cleveland to work with, a really good defense there. But it's money. Money's a huge part of it. They were willing to fully guarantee a 5-year contract, even though they knew every other owner was going to be mad about it. They were willing to do that to get the player, there's not many guys who are on their existing rookie contracts who will ever come close to having that type of leverage.
Last thing for you, Tom. I know we all have Watson fatigue. I have it. We all have it. And he has been suspended, and so thus he's now off a lot of people's radar screens. But Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com, covering the team, spoke to an NFL senior advisor on domestic violence and sexual assault named Rita Smith recently. And these comments, if they were said during the period where there was an appeal of the original suspension, this would have been front page news everywhere and on every show like this one. But I think we're all fatigued by Watson and the story. And she said to Mary Kay Cabot, I feel like Deshaun, is playing us. He's saying exactly what he thinks he needs to say to get on the field again. He's not thinking strategically at all about, did I cause harm to other people? He's not questioning any of his behaviors at all. He's absolutely certain from that last statement, I've done nothing wrong, is what she's ascribing to him. This is all about people trying to get at me, and I just want to go play ball. Is she part of the process to determine whether he gets back on the field? How much should we be paying attention to what is going on behind the scenes for Watson to get back on the field, if you will, on time?
Well, first of all, that's the first time I've heard those quotes, Rich. I've been sort of underwater with cuts.
Understood. That's part of why I'm bringing it up, I guess, too, yeah. Tom. I'm sorry if I'm just throwing something on live radio TV here, but I know you're definitely fully knowledgeable on the suspension and things of that nature. How much should we be paying attention to this sort of stuff, Tom?
Right. What I would say, generally speaking, is there is a process here under the terms of his settlement with the NFL by which he needed, and I believe he has undergone, an evaluation by clinicians who are experts in the field, who then will set out a treatment/counseling/therapy plan, whatever they decide, and he has to follow it. If he does not follow the plan, if he misses counseling sessions, if he has any other issues following whatever it is they lay out, that will constitute a new violation under the personal conduct policy and possibly could delay his anticipated 12th game return to the Cleveland Browns. So we have seen that in other cases before. Under the drug policy, for instance, which is a different protocol, but it's a comparable thing where the medical advisors lay out the plan and then the players have to follow it, like Martavis Bryant missed counseling sessions and did not get back. Josh Gordon, on multiple occasions, had his reinstatement delayed. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that if whatever it says in that plan, which is, of course, confidential between him and his, the clinicians, but if he violates that, then he would not get onto the field. Does that include public statements of remorse at a time that he still has a civil lawsuit pending? I would tend to doubt that, because this is, the medical piece of it. It's not any type of, PR piece of it. What is he saying behind closed doors in a confidential setting versus what he's saying publicly? I can't tell you that either. But I would say there is a plan that he has to follow, or he can be kept off the field, later on in the season. He'll be out of the building for the next month here. So, it's one of those many things that you have to monitor closely and, what he's doing. And, it would be a good sign for him if he's back in the building as scheduled October 10th, I believe is the date, that he has been following the plan. But, yeah, this is an extraordinarily complicated and I would say unprecedented matter for the NFL. The league was always going to face substantial criticism, whatever came out of this new disciplinary process that was jointly negotiated with the NFL Players Association. But the bottom line is Deshaun Watson has to follow whatever he is told to do by the doctors, or they can keep him off the field.
Tom, greatly appreciate it. Let's talk as the season moves along, and I'll be seeing you on game day morning and all those other programs on NFL Network. Thanks for the time, brother.
Can't wait, Rich. Thanks.
Thank you. That's Tom Pelissero right there, channeling his inner Bart Scott for the football season and everything else, right here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Can't wait.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. Phone lines are lit. We'll take them when we come back here before we turn to the guest line with Mark Andrews of the Ravens, speaking of Lamar Jackson, and also James Conner of the Cardinals, speaking of Kyler Murray. maybe James is the one who had Kyler's iPad. We'll talk to him about that in hour number 2 here on the Rich Eisen Show. Don't go anywhere. There you are. You're clapping. Yes, you're clapping.
Oh, he's sweating.
So wait a minute. So he made it out of contestants row? Yes, he made it out of contestants row. A brand new car! A car! Yes! TJ can win a car! Let's go! This is amazing! I can't believe we're doing this!
I cannot believe it.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful, brand new car! You can win a coffee maker. Oh, that's terrible.
This is
a bike, which is an actual bike.
Bike is like $5.
By the way, if you
All
got
right,
the coffee
Master
maker, I'll take
Key
it.
is the game. Master Key is the game. This is going to take a while. Oh, it's what unlocks the car, TJ. TJ, did you ever watch Master Key? This is a rare game.
So let me be honest with you guys. I spent 3 weeks watching episodes of Price Right. I never saw this game before.
It's a rare game, dude.
Yeah.
This is so
and it takes a
I've never
while,
seen
too.
this game, guys. But look what's
My
coming up.
heart's thumping right now.
I mean, this is.
Okay, here we go. Oh, popcorn machine.
Oh, I'll take that if you want that, TJ.
By the way, you've got to bring in this popcorn machine if you win it.
Yeah.
I want this popcorn. Oh, 41. $41. It's not a $71. 41. It's 41. That's one key. That's one key. Grab the key. Take the middle key. Take the middle key. There's 5 keys.
Yes.
He takes the middle key. No, he's not looking. He takes the second to the right key.
I didn't look.
All right.
All right, TJ.
What are you going to unlock? Oh, you got to do that later.
That's right.
Here's another key. Here's a basket. $5.84. That's a $58 basket. It's not an $84 basket.
No way.
What's in it?
What? Oh, no.
Oh, you got to get what's in it too.
what's in
Oh,
it?
it's an $84 basket.
It's 84.
It's an $84
Here's
basket.
where I messed up. I listened to.
That's an $84 basket.
I listened to the people.
Come on, TJ.
TJ.
84. No, he went 58.
TJ!
Oh, he only has one key.
We need a phone friend.
Oh my gosh. Come on, TJ. It's an $84 key.
Uh-oh. Master
All right,
Key.
does it unlock the
It's unlocked.
Okay, it does not.
Coffee maker.
No coffee maker.
Coffee maker.
Okay, he's gonna unlock the electric bike.
Bike.
No. Okay, all right. Does it unlock the car?
Oh, my God.
Does it unlock the car?
Let's go!
Does it unlock the car? Does it unlock the car?
Does it unlock the
He's
car?
turning the key. No!
Oh, TJ.
Oh, that was so riveting.
You were so close.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
Some nice parting gifts for you.
I just Instagram
What did you get to get out of contestants row? What did you bid on to get out of
a
contestants
ping pong table.
Oh,
can you bring that in here?
Well, yeah, probably.
that clip never gets old. It's still hilarious every time.
Well, it's not that funny. It's not that funny.
Chrome Soft golf balls. We've got it on the brain here all the time because, gosh, do we love playing with Chrome Soft Callaway golf balls. They are amazing. There's definitely a version of the Chrome Soft golf ball that's out there that suits your game. My game is suited by the regular Chrome Soft because it provides the most amount of forgiveness. It gives you more distance. It's a better feel to the point where I even can tell the difference. Chrome Soft X is for a little bit more of an experienced player that needs more spin consistency and tour level short game control. The Chrome Soft XLS, that's for you pros out there. Lower spin on longer shots, firmer feel, high spin around the greens. When you add everything all up, because they're the highest quality, most consistent, fastest golf ball that's out there, it's so simple. Chrome Soft is better for the best, and then it is better for everyone. Find out which Chrome Soft is right for you at CallawayGolf.com/Chrome Soft right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's go back to the phone lines. Love seeing them all lit. I love it. Let's go to Jake in Pennsylvania. You are here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up, Jake?
Oh, nothing much. How you doing, Rich?
What's going on?
Oh, well, I think your list is a little wrong there. I mean, you have Derek Carr in the back end, but, you guys got 24 game-winning drives since 2015, when he came into the league. 3 more than any other player. He's got 31 career wins as an underdog. That's 54% of his wins. That's the highest in the NFL.
Yep.
Since 2014. That's 8 more. And a couple other fun facts for you. There's only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history to have 8 straight 300-plus completion seasons, Peyton Manning and Derek Carr. And over the last 4 years, Carr's led the NFL in completion percentage, and he's one of only 4 guys to throw for more than 4,000 yards in each of those seasons. It's Carr, Mahomes, Rodgers, and Brady.
Damn, Jake in Pennsylvania driving around having all these facts at his fingertips about Derek Carr. So let me ask you this question, because, again, you're referring to, in case anybody's just picking up this show right now, I started the show at the top 5 quarterbacks you want to have in a must-win game in 2022. I went Brady 1, Josh Allen 2, Mahomes 3, Joe Burrow 4, and Aaron Rodgers 5. Who do you take off the list to put Derek Carr on?
You said you had Herbert on the list?
I did not. It's Brady,
No.
Josh Allen, Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers in that order. My top 5. Who do you take off? Because you got to take somebody off to put Derek Carr on, and I'm very high on Derek Carr. I think the Raiders win this division. I'm one of the few people saying such things, and I have been since March. So go for it.
I know, and I appreciate that.
Who do you take off?
Personally, I would have to say I'd take off Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. I think he's got a great future in the league, but man, Carr's so underrated. And I can't say anything against Rodgers. I mean, I'm a Raiders fan. I watched what happened with Khalil Mack in that first game, and he came back for that. Like, I can't say anything against Rodgers. Brady's done it this whole time. I've witnessed to Mahomes his entire freaking career, and Josh Allen just looks incredible.
All right, so you take Burrow off. Thanks for the call, Jake. Drive safe.
Yep.
Who do you take off the list? You said Rodgers should be higher, right, TJ? You said Rodgers should be higher?
A little bit, yeah.
Higher than Burrow?
I believe so.
Higher than Mahomes? So you'd swap Burrow and Rodgers?
I would definitely swap Burrow.
I just think, again, the only reason why I did that, again, is because Burrow last year won more must-win games than Rodgers. Rodgers didn't win a single must-win game if you just consider the playoffs. Right?
Yeah, and that's a
But
weird
Rodgers
thing.
did beat Burrow. I mean, that was a wild game, right? That went into overtime last year. But
Burrow beat Mahomes twice.
this was before Burrow started. I know, and I put Mahomes above him. I am just saying, this is my list, and
it's weird
this
when
one
you
is
got to
mine.
defend those lists, isn't it?
To use the private pile phrase.
It's weird.
There are many
isn't it?
there may be other lists like it, but this one is mine.
I think if it's for this season, I'm going to take Rodgers out and put in Herbert. And I might even put Matt Stafford in there. I might have Herbert 4, Stafford 5, and I lose Burrow and Rodgers.
You lose Joe Burrow.
I think so. I think Super Bowl loser, the following
Dude.
season always takes a step back.
Huh. You like the list as it is constituted.
Yeah, because I look at it like this. Aaron Rodgers, to me, I'm not a Pack fan, but that guy, he does things and he makes throws that literally make me just go, what the heck was that?
And neck up, too. Neck up.
Yeah.
You go to the line, you know he's not like, wait a minute. I haven't seen this before. 15
so that's where
times.
I'm kind of confused because I don't think there's many better than him.
Mark Andrews, James Conner coming up on the radio side. Still here on the old YouTube machine. That's what I'm just saying is you need to have somebody who goes up to the line who's like, okay, I got this. You kidding me?
Yeah, there's
I've been
nothing
in
he sees
this situation before.
Freak him out.
Exactly.
You know?
I've got this. You need an I've got this approach, and I know Burrow hasn't done it all that much, but he's got this. I've got this approach since he's left the womb, since he started breathing, since somebody slapped him on the behind.
Yeah, but
I mean, like to start the whole process.
I know we all like. I know we all like Joe Burrow. I know I do, but I said this a few months ago, and I
I'm
think
all in on Joe.
One way to kind of look at this, that they were 10-7 last year, right? And then they got hot. So we don't know if they were a good team or if they just got hot at the right time, which does tend to happen. But I think Joe Burrow is going to be the man, but. I mean, you have to see a little bit more of it for me to say I'd take him over Aaron Rodgers.
I understand it. All I'm saying is I have having seen this, and you have seen it as well, when the Cowboys started turning things on. Mm-hmm. And when there's a championship team that starts turning things on, I'm talking about the triplet years. That's what I'm talking about.
Let me go way back.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. And people will be like, okay, all these young guys, we saw Aikman in college get it. Irv is Mr. brash first down guy. Emmett, that a kid from Florida, sure, I get it.
Great point.
They got a good line. And then they started winning football games, and then they broke through. And maybe at the time, if there was a show like this, it'll be like, I need to see more out of Aikman. I need to see more out of those guys. Yeah. I just have a feel, and I know people are like, are you comparing the Bengals to the Dynastic Cowboys? No. What I'm doing is I'm comparing them to a clear example that not only you, but all the Cowboys fans out there might be able to grasp and understand, and as all football fans, that there are moments where you could see a page has been turned and a championship quarterback along with a high-quality roster and other players around them, Jamar Chase being one, just throwing him out there.
Joe Mixon.
Where, this is going to be a problem for the rest of the league moving forward, and I believe the Bengals have gotten that. I think that is what we saw last year at the end of the season. That was not a flash in the pan. That was a true championship run by a team that is led by a quarterback that can win football games when they have to. That's what I'm saying.
He's another guy's got nerves of steel, man.
That's what I'm saying.
You
need to have somebody
scalding hot coffee on his white sneakers in Miami, and my man didn't flinch.
That was me.
He didn't flinch.
He helped try to clean it up.
Well, he didn't actually.
He didn't. He just sat there.
He just sat there.
Well, what was he? Chris is thinking, like, what was he supposed to do?
I wasn't his teammate.
I
wasn't his teammate, and maybe he was holding the Michigan thing against me since all Ohio State fans claim to have him and own him. Really so that's ridiculous. Really you didn't give him a shot. He had to leave to get his chance.
Yeah.
Okay?
And they had the greatest college season ever.
Yeah, right. And that's what made him the first overall pick. Not anything Ohio. The best thing that Ohio State did was let him go. No, but no, wait a minute. He thanked Ryan Day when he won his Heisman. Yeah, I get it. He's from Ohio. He's got an affinity for them.
Bengals have a hard schedule.
I know. So does everybody that's a first place schedule. Look at a first place schedule. It's tough. Except for the Bills, who have the Patriots twice.
The Cowboys lucked out, too. Strength of schedule-wise.
I mean, Bengals have to play Chiefs, Bills, Bucks.
Oh, yeah, man.
Obviously, Ravens twice.
Oh, yeah. But I think they'll be able to handle it.
Dolphins, Cowboys.
844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the Rich Eisen Show. Mark Andrews of the Ravens and James Conner of the Cardinals. And more of your calls at 844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the program.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
You got a big surprise coming to you.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
Bruce Arians, I'm sure you've heard a lot of the conversation about why you stepped aside and how you and Brady didn't get along.
We've got a great relationship, and it's never been soured.
The Rich Eisen Show. Earlier on the show, NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero. Still to come, Ravens tight end Mark Andrews. Plus, Cardinals running back James Conner. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
That is correct. Hour number 2 of the Rich Eisen Show on the air here on this terrestrial radio network, coast to coast, the Odyssey app. We say hello to those watching us right now, streaming us right now, live on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. The Roku channel is going to be our home starting next month. And September is right around the corner. It is going to be free on all Roku devices and select Samsung televisions. Fire TV, Amazon Fire TV, sitting there for free on the Roku channel, which is also free on the mobile app, the Roku mobile app that can be downloaded to any mobile device. And desktop, the RokuChannel.com, that is free. The Rich Eisen Show going to start a hopefully long-lasting relationship with the Roku channel starting in September, and we are so jacked up about it. The we being me, Rich Eisen, along with you, Chris Brockman. Good to see you.
Hey, Rich, what's up, man?
And Jason Feller finishing up his residency today. Del Tufo returns tomorrow. Is that what I told?
Okay. And then gone Friday.
Okay, so we'll see it. We'll see it. Why is he coming back? Just to show that he thinks he's part of the program? Is that what it is?
I'll let you decide.
Okay. He's just going to touch up. You know what he is? He's the ghost runner. He'll be our ghost runner.
Just gonna. Hey guys, I'm still here.
Good to see you over there, TJ Jefferson. How are you, sir?
Let me make sure this mic's on. Oh yeah,
there it is.
Hello.
Oh,
hey yo.
We see you can do it. You can do it. We chatted with Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, and then shortly, in about 18 minutes' time, joining us from the Arizona Cardinals will be James Conner. But let's turn to the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line and find one of the best tight ends in the National Football League, entering his 5th year out of Oklahoma. Joining us here is a Pro Bowler and I guess a roommate of mine and my wife Susie, for the NFL Honors. Good to chat once again with Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, Rich, I'm doing great. It's good to talk with you again.
I know. We were sitting right next to you, you and your mom and me and Suze taking in the NFL Honors that night. I haven't spoken to you since then.
Yeah, we had a great time. That was a good performance.
Yeah, what by me? Is that what you're saying, or you're talking about the host? Okay.
Yeah, the host was good. You were good. You did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mark. I'm very fragile. I need that sort of support. So, how'd you enjoy the evening? I mean, seriously, what'd you think of that night back in LA?
No, it's just a cool experience. Just being around, all those guys, all those people. A lot of those guys I haven't really seen, in that setting or at all. So. Just being able to be there, be around, and get to meet those type of people, it was really, really fun.
Sitting right behind Josh Allen, but you're big enough to be able to see over him, I imagine, right, Mark? Do you have no sightline issues, right, for you that night?
No sight issues. We're a little bit above him, but he's a big dude.
He is that, but you are too, man. So let's just jump right into this Ravens offense and how things are looking in training camp and preseason. Walk me through it, Mark. How are things looking in year 5 for you and the Ravens offense?
It's going really, really well. I think, for us, we had good OTAs, period, but, we had a good training camp and kind of finishing up our last padded practice of camp, today. But, we have a lot of guys that are making big-time plays. We're extremely focused. We're going to be a disciplined team, and, I just can't wait. Like I said, it's 9/11. Against the Jets, we're going to be ready to go. We're going to be excited about that. It's going to be, obviously a humbling time to be able to play there in New York, on that date. So we're going to come and play with passion.
So the offense has J.K. Dobbins back in it. How does he look?
He looks good, man. He's worked extremely hard just getting himself back in the rhythm, and just seeing him back out there the few practices, and every time he's touching the football, every time he's back out there, every practice, he's just getting that much better, that much more fluent and comfortable. So I'm excited to see where he can get.
Well, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mark, you were kind enough to call into this program 1 year ago I think it was the day after he and Gus Edwards went down in the same practice, and you walked us through how the team was feeling, and you were very open about that. I'm wondering how it must feel for you to see him out there a year later, seeming ready to go in week one, Mark.
Yeah, like you said, man, it was tough, both those guys going down. But we know the type of player that he is and what he can do for our team and the type of element that he brings when he touches, the field and he's on the field. So I think everybody's super excited about that, for us, we got to be able to get our run game going. We've got a lot of things with, Lamar throwing the ball, but it really happens when we're able to run the ball. That's when our offense is most dangerous.
And then Isaiah Likely, the kid from Maryland, has had a terrific preseason. He's in the tight end room with you. What can you tell me about him and the role he's going to play alongside you this season?
Man, he's just an incredible football player. Doesn't play like a rookie. He's well before his years. He's just very, very polished. He's got a football mind, and you don't see that a lot with rookies. So he's going to make big-time plays for us this year. All year long, he's going to be in there, and I'm excited to see him grow. But he's a really, really good player. He's going to be on the field a lot and making big plays for us.
And then, so are you guys the big play guys? With all due respect to your wide receiver room, they're not getting a lot of respect nationally. So, what do you think of that statement there?
That's not fair. I'm excited. Like I said, we're almost here. The season is almost here, and we're going to show the world, what we have to offer. And those guys in the receiving room have also worked extremely hard, and they've made a bunch of plays in this training camp, and Lamar's feeding them. And so, I think time will tell, and those guys are going to prove everybody wrong.
Mark Andrews, all-pro tight end of the Baltimore Ravens, here on the Rich Eisen Show, 12 days before the Ravens go up to New York and play the Jets to open the season in 2022. So let's get to Lamar Jackson. To use the Tom Brady phrase from this past weekend, Lamar's 25 and has a lot of S going on. So when he's out there, is there any point in time where he's brought up his contract in those talks, or you to him, or anybody that's been around you to him at all, Mark?
No. He's just Lamar is such a low-key, fun going guy. He's not over here in the locker room, talking about his business or what's going on and this or that. So, he has fun with life, and he gets a lot of, flack for just being him. But, honest to God, he's just a good dude, good person, great teammate, and, everybody over here loves him. So, I wish everybody around the world could kind of see that and see how he is. But he doesn't talk about his contract. He's about his business. He's very professional about it.
And I understand that. But, he's a human being. And I'll just give him my 2 cents. I mean, I have an agent. And whenever there's a negotiation and I hear something back through my agent from management that doesn't make me very happy, I do have to swallow things and go on the air and just be the same person and not let anybody know that. But deep down, it definitely rattles your cage a little bit. He's his own agent. So there's been no sense at all that, he's come from DaCosta's office or from whoever's office and the same guy, nothing at all, zero change, Mark?
I mean, I think that they've been, kind of open about, they've talked and been here, and, obviously had talks with that stuff. But, me personally, I don't know, exactly what what their deal is, with a player being their own agent. That's kind of one of those new things. So, I'm excited for him. I hope he gets that deal done. Because that's my quarterback. I love playing with him. He's a special player. He makes everybody over here better. And the whole team kind of, rallies around him. So we go how he goes. So I'm excited for him to be able to get that done hopefully soon.
So how has he changed as a quarterback since you broke in together, Mark? How has he changed?
Well, I think the more years you kind of accumulate, you get better and better. You kind of see the game a little bit different. You learn more, but he's matured. He's become an overall all around quarterback, commanding the huddle, seeing throws, everything. So I think, but that's natural for anybody. And he's already had such a high ceiling, and he's just continuing to get better, and he's extremely hungry. He took this time this offseason to focus up, have a quarterback throwing coach. Not that he needed it, but he's extremely hungry and he wants to win, and that's really all that matters to him. And so it's very evident, for him, for us, what we're all about.
And how has Harbaugh changed in any way, shape, or form since you've come in? Has he changed at all? Because again, what a maneuver to switch offenses midstream and make this Lamar's team, and now have Lamar enter year 5 under whatever circumstances are happening, and him being able to just roll with it with Lamar. What about the coach Harbaugh from your perspective, Mark?
Yeah, for me, I've always seen Coach Harbaugh as a steady person. He's a guy that preaches all the right values. He's a leader of men, and every team meeting, he's instilling the good values that we should all, take with us each and every day. So, I love Coach Harbaugh. I love being able to play for him. And so I don't know if he's changed too much, but, he's an extremely understanding person. He's able to see the big picture most of the times. He'll probably laugh at that, but
why would he laugh at that? Why would he laugh at that?
Just because, just like everybody else, man, we being a head coach is not the easiest jobs in the world, So there's a lot to worry about. There's a lot of things you got to think about, and so that's one of those deals.
Mark Andrews here on the Rich Eisen Show. And how ready to roll do you think Kyle Hamilton is? I chatted with him a couple times, pre-draft, post-draft, and the concept around the combine of him as a top 3 pick was being bandied about, and he wound up going to you guys middle of the first round. How ready does he look to you, Mark Andrews?
I think he's going to be special. He's got kind of Isaiah, just a little bit different in different worlds, but he's got a real good football sense. He sees kind of route concepts, and he's able to. Maybe it's not his area of the field, maybe it's not his zone, but he comes off on the play because he sees the whole picture, and he's able to make the big time plays. And he's rangy, he's long, and he's going to be able to cover guys. So I think. He's a guy that his ceiling is extremely high. He's going to continue to learn to get better, but he's already very, very good, and he's going to be a good player for us on our defense.
How's my guy Ajabo from Michigan? Do you think we're going to see him soon, Mark? What are your 2 cents on that?
I hope so. We've heard, we've seen great things about him. I know that he's a hungry guy. Seeing him in the training room, getting ready, hopefully getting back soon and getting right. Because we need that.
Okay. So do you want to give your 2 cents on the Oklahoma season with your new coach, everything coming up? What do you got for me there? Now, because your old coach is here in Big Ten country in Los Angeles, Mark. So what do you got for me on that? Right? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think Oklahoma is going to be good. One of my best friends, Tanner Schaefer, is a GA out there, and he says they're looking good. I'm happy about Brent Venables and what he's going to be able to do. I'm a Boomer Sooner for life. I grew up an Oklahoma fan, so I'm going to be rooting, cheering for those guys, and I think there's going to be big things ahead. I'm excited for where that? Go ahead. Are
you like the rest of the Boomer Sooners rooting against USC as well, or no? You're above that, Mark. What do you got?
I don't pay any attention to him or that program. It's whatever to me.
Mm-hmm. It's whatever to you. Now that's as critical as I think you're going to get, Mark. You're too nice a guy. I shouldn't even ask you those questions. I shouldn't drag you into my mosh pit. But okay, so you got that. Okay, you're not happy about that, but it's good. You got Venables, who obviously has a tie to the program, and now he's got his opportunity there before you go into the SEC and start teaching some people a lesson there, right? Am I right?
No doubt. Yeah, he's been around, and he's an Oklahoma guy. He's going to bring that defense, and he's seen a lot of ball. So I know everybody's excited about him in the season.
And Baker getting another shot. It looks like he's getting. Do you chat with him any time?
Yeah.
What do you got for me on
Baker's
that?
one of my boys. We chat here and there, and we're so busy during training camp. But I just know the type of person he is, that's how fiery he is. So I'm extremely excited for him and for him to be able to get that QB1 job. He's a guy that that team's going to be able to rally behind him. Play behind him, and he's going to be able to lead them. He's a fiery competitor, and maybe that's what they need.
Yeah.
So it'll be good for them. I'm excited for him.
All right, tell him I said hi, will you please? Because we follow each other. He's kind of gone into a little bit of a shell. He's kind of he's tightened the rotation. So tell him I send my best.
Focused. I will.
Yeah, he definitely is focused. I know that, and I look forward to seeing what he can do, and you as well. I always appreciate your phone calls, Mark. Send my best to everyone there in Baltimore, to Coach Harbaugh and everyone else, and let's chat during the season. Look for my calls. Always, Mark. Okay?
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You bet. You got it. That's Mark Andrews right here on the Rich Eisen Show from the Baltimore Ravens. God bless Lamar Jackson, man.
Different cat.
Let me just say this. Oh, my God. Negotiations are tough. All right, I'm just going to shoot you straight. Negotiating with the NFL sometimes ain't easy. It's just, and any negotiation that I've had in my career, way back in the day with ESPN when we parted ways, anything to do with this show. Yep. I mean, you see me sometimes pacing on the phone, whatever. You see me talking to my agent, Jerry, Agent of the Stars, right?
I do.
You see sometimes he delivers me news I don't want to hear.
Sometimes
You've seen a lot of it.
He has to do it.
And I try to.
That's his job.
I try to keep it from you. I try to keep it from the kids.
Well, you're doing a lot of walking.
I cannot imagine Lamar Jackson going to the Ravens and being told something that he should have an agent here.
Doesn't seem like it affects him, though.
Dude, God, that's why I started with this, bless him.
Yeah, it's wild.
So you're going to go up, you know, Eric DeCosta, you know, the general manager or whoever is talking to you. You're talking to the capologist. I have no idea who he's talking to. Could it be Bisciotti at one point? I don't know. So you go at the owner's office, you go to the coach's office. Coach might be like, "Look, I'm out of this." Or you go to the GM. GM pulls you in. You're having a talk. Then you got to go back to the huddle and shake that off, and then be all in with the guys and for the team, and be all in for your coach and for the organization. Man, I do not know how you silo that. I do not know how you silo that at all. I do not know how you do that. Bless him, is all I'm saying. And I hope the Ravens can get it done. That's why Mark Andrews is hearing that too. Because agents, I know they take a percentage of your salary, and you might think that that's not what, you might think you don't want to give that percentage away. But boy, do they hear stuff and that you shouldn't be hearing. And then be able to just swallow it, assimilate it, and then go out and, you know, call that play, try to win that game. Damn. Good luck. Let's take a break. We come back, and it is time to chat with James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals. We've been talking to him way back in the day when he was with the Steelers.
Yeah, man.
What a season he just posted with the Arizona Cardinals, getting set for another one. That's next on The Rich Eisen Show. very rare that I begin an interview with somebody asking, who's your real estate agent? But, Coach, who's your real estate agent?
Lisa Roberts. She does a great job. Anybody in Scottsdale needs a spot.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Free plug.
This is, yeah, man. I mean, this is this is the spot. This is, you got a guest room?
Apparently. Yeah, there's a couple. You're always welcome, man.
I appreciate that. Are you surprised by the reaction to your draft setup, Coach?
I think people are a bit bored these days at home. They're excited about some live sports on TV,
yes,
if you will, and
yep.
It kind of took off a little bit.
And it's very finely appointed, very finely tuned. The question I have for you is the fire in the background.
That was extra. Yeah, that was a bit extra.
Now, does it light up when you draft Isaiah Simmons, or I mean, like,
yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah, the whole house lit up. I think, when we got that pick, we were fired up.
I bet. Like you're like, fire up the coals, fire up. You know that probably had to happen. Who took this photo? People want to know.
Yeah, we had one. You know, you were allowed to have one IT guy there at your house, so it was one of our IT guys that took it.
And he stayed in the cabana, the IT guy?
He did not stay at the house.
Did he light the fire, or did you light the fire? We're all fascinated. This is fascinating to everybody.
It is fascinating, isn't it? Yeah, I lit the fire.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead and ask.
And Cliff, did you get in the pool at any point?
I did not get in the pool. That's maybe next year. We may have some props. I thought Vrabel did a great job with the props, just kind of having that weird vibe at his house. So
it was a circus.
I mean, next year the money could be on the table.
I know. Vrabel is like one moment shy of a draft gimp. He's one moment shy of having.
There's no doubt. Somebody is about to walk in that screen that nobody wanted to see.
You know, it's like a couple of draft moments shy of a Pulp Fiction draft.
That's exactly right. And he acted just oblivious to all of it. That was the best part. He's just sitting there going to work, and there's just this weirdness all around him.
What's the one, I guess, comparison you've heard about the photographs before I guess we give one, what it looks like to people? What have you heard the most?
The funniest one I saw was like, it was a picture and then they had the Brazzers logo. Like, oh gosh. You know what I mean? Like, that was actually like really well done.
Fantastic. I was going to go Cologne. You know, like a
Bond villain.
You know, Bond.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury after the draft.
Amazing.
In 2020. That was when we were solely YouTube's show back then as well. 844-204-RICH, number to dial here in the program. Great chat with Mark Andrews. Now let's turn back to the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. All the fans who are calling in to chat with us. We've got a full third hour wide open, by the way. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We'll take your phone calls the rest of this hour, as well as hour 3. Chris Brockman's got burning questions for all 32 NFL teams. You're going to do, what, 32?
32 to 26,
okay.
The bottom 7 today.
Okay, if you will. Okay, you're going to rank them. The Cardinals are not part of that, right?
They're not.
Okay, so we'll be hitting the Cardinals later on as you get further up the list. Very good. This man's about to enter year 6 of a pro career that is going strong, to say the least. What a season. Last year, a touchdown maker of the first variety for the Arizona Cardinals. Back with the team now once again, and back here on the Rich Eisen Show, Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line, the great James Conner back here on the show. How you doing, James?
Man, Rich, I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I am doing better for talking to you. What a great season last year. I couldn't be happier for you. Could not.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Is that the sort of stuff you've been dreaming about last season, James?
Yeah, man. Just playing big, just rising up to the moments and just feeling like, playing some of my best ball, even though I still don't feel like it was my best ball. But just contribute and to just be embraced, and just start something new. It was just real. It was just real for me. It was real, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
What do you mean you didn't think it was your best ball?
Just a new offense, So I still feel like I play good ball, but I feel like my best ball is just to come this year with having, another year in this offense, stronger camaraderie with the guys. man, I feel like my body is better shape, stronger, everything like that. So, you just try to get better year after year, and I know where I was at last year, and know I was this year and what I'm capable of this year. So I just feel like I get my best balls coming this year.
Well, I don't really ask many how does it feel questions, but you have had quite the journey. You battled illness. You've come back from so much, James. But and your career, you had your shot when Le'Veon Bell gave you that shot, quite frankly, with his situation in Pittsburgh, and then you go to Arizona in a support role is how you started last year before you burst through. You're RB1 on the depth chart right now. How does that feel to you, James Conner?
Man, I'm grateful and I'm excited to get it started. It's a big responsibility, but you can't forget the responsibility and the blessing. So I know that it's a big role, and I feel like I'm the man for the job, and so just come in day and day out, giving what I got and just being my best self, and I feel like that's pretty good. So just bring other guys along, with me, the other running backs as well as the rest of the team.
And, the concept in Arizona prior to your arrival, and then last year there was a similar struggle. Finishing strong was always has been an issue in Arizona, but starting strong this year could not be more important, it appears, with DeAndre Hopkins going to be out for the first 6 games. Is that something that is being stressed to you, starting strong as a team, James?
No, I think that that's in the job description. We understand the circumstances that we're in with players, with D-Hop being gone and whatnot for the first couple of weeks. And so, you just day in and day out, we just preach that message of doing your job, doing your role, being your best self, and stepping up, man. That's what this game of football is about. It's about stepping up, and so that's the message. The message is finish. All the way through, it's finishing. You got to start fast, of course, but you got to finish. If you can't finish, then what's starting fast? So you don't just want to start fast and leave it at that. So we just practicing finishing. We're trying to finish hard and practice finishing runs, doing this and doing the little things, right day in and day out in the building.
How much did last year's finish creep into your thoughts throughout the months between seasons, James?
It crept in there, just knowing how good of a football team we are, and knowing what we're capable of, and the talent that we got. It's unacceptable. We got to finish, and so we had the football team to do it. We had the resources, and now we just gotta, we working until we got action. We got action coming up here pretty soon, and the whole squad, we can't wait to get it started.
James Conner, Arizona Cardinals, 2-time Pro Bowl running back, coming off of a dream season last year, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, what's it going to feel like first week of the season for you, James? I mean, this is it, man. You're back.
Yeah,
the football's back. I could already hear it in your voice right now before you take on the Chiefs too. My gosh, point for point, points of Palooza. This is it, right? This is great.
No, 1,000%. This is it. So this is the stage is set. This is why we work so hard. This is what all summer was about, all off season. The stage is set, man. We got a great opponent. We at our house. Me personally, I feel, I'm juiced up because I feel I'm at home now, and I'm in AZ, and man, everybody just embraced me here. So now, I'm leaving it all out there on the field every game. So it's just gonna be, I just love the environment. I love the city, So this is home. So I'm juiced up, and just go excited when we get to play football. I think that's some people, there's outside pressures and whatnot, but at the end of the day, man, we playing football, and this is what we love to do. And sometimes we get fear confused with love, and so, man, there's nothing to fear. That's the message I'm, trying to tell the team. It's just, man, we get to go out there and play football, and we are so blessed and gifted out there. We got a hell of a team. So, man, we just excited. We're just excited.
I could hear it in your voice, James. Like you'd play it right now if I told you kickoff was in 15 minutes.
I'm ready right now. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We can play on Sunday. But I'm taking advantage of every day we got up until then, just to keep building this armor up, and just go out there swinging.
Plus, your quarterback had an interesting offseason, James. I'm sure you noticed what was going on with Kyler. How's he doing?
Yeah, man, he has good growth though. I think he grew this offseason for sure. He, of course, a couple headlines and whatnot, but man, I was just being by his side through it. Us and the whole team, we just see the growth in him, and just know that he just stayed down and just worked. I try to talk about his name, his character, all that, whatever. But we know the real K1. We with him, and so he's juiced up. He one that takes care of everything.
When you say growth, can you give me an example of that, James? You got one? For
this growth is the only way you can grow is when you go through things maybe that's uncomfortable for you, or you put in a position that you necessarily can't have control over or don't want to be in. But he made it through. With time. And so man, just growing. That's the best way I can put it. You go through something, and he's still here playing good ball. So. He's just growing.
Well, I mean, I know you don't speak for another man or another person, certainly another teammate, certainly not somebody as important as Kyler Murray, but when everything was going on about his iPad and, and needing to study or mandated and during the week, and they would check and all of that business, that clause that eventually came out of his contract, how was he? Did you call him? Were you around him at any point of that time? That very long 90-hour period, I imagine?
We were just in training camp and still attacking each day. That's our brother. So we just let the outside noise, do what they do. That's what the media. That's what they want to paint pictures and whatnot. We was just in training camp grinding, putting our head down, showing up and working. So he can answer better for you, but. And we were just attacking each day because we know the vision that we have as a team.
James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals here on the Rich Eisen Show. I don't know if you saw Desmond Howard, Desmond on ESPN. Did you see who he predicted is going to make the college football playoffs, James? Did you see?
Yeah, University of Pittsburgh.
Yes, he did. So you did see that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, James Conner? What do you think? Man,
my university, man, I love what they're doing. They're coming off of a championship. There was ACC championships, and it's just you just want to leave a place better than you found it. And I never got a chance to win an ACC championship, so it just makes me proud to see them doing that. Seeing the draft picks, I'm excited for Pickett doing this thing in Pittsburgh. And I just, the mentality. I know Coach Narduzzi, the mentality and, the type of coach that he is. Man, them boys are going to be ready. And so it's not far-fetched, for them to make big noise and be in that playoffs. The people won't act surprised, but, we the University of Pittsburgh, and we can play with anybody.
Well, your former coach in Pittsburgh, in Mike Tomlin, says he's made it seem like he has made a decision who his starting quarterback is going to be in Week 1 against the Bengals. But he's not letting anybody know right now. If he is potentially on the fence, what would you tell him about Kenny Pickett? Or unless you have had this conversation with him, I don't know. But what do you think, James?
No, I ain't talked to him. Okay. But no, I'm not sure. I know Kenny had a great preseason, but all the QBs did, and I'm a fan of all those guys, of Mitch, and Mason, and so they're going to evaluate. See what they got, who they want to take the field Week 1. But I feel like all those guys are capable. So
I don't know if you saw Pickett did leave his mark on college football for sure. They outlawed the fake slide. They outlawed that fake slide.
Yeah. That was a heck of a play.
Can Kyler do that? Kyler can do that, right? If asked, he could probably.
Yeah, he could do that.
In his sleep, he probably can do that, right?
Yeah, that's what he do. He's an incredible athlete.
You might lose your head though in the NFL though if that happens, and I don't mean figuratively. I mean literally. No one can do that, right?
You got to be careful.
I bet so.
You got to be careful, no doubt about it.
James Conner, great to chat with you, sir. Let's talk during the season. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Rich, I'll talk soon.
I'm rooting for you, as always, James. Thanks for the call.
My man.
Appreciate it. That's right. Right back at you. That's James Conner, everybody, of the Arizona Cardinals. RB1. Think about it, right?
Pittsburgh told him, see you later.
Yeah, I know he laughed when I said, maybe you spoke to Tomlin about it. I don't know if he holds anything against him there. He laughed. No, he's like, yeah, I didn't speak to him about it. But I want to get it exactly right here. So if you don't mind me, because I don't.
What are you looking for, Rich?
He had Hodgkin's lymphoma is what he had. That's what James Conner had. Stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma, a blood cancer that affects the immune system. And this was during college. And Pittsburgh drafted him, right? Hometown kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know all about his story.
Yeah. It was
There in
amazing.
PA?
When he came back from that season that he had was just unbelievable because you go through something like that.
Exactly.
Sure, in his mind, he's thinking, well, maybe not. I was going to say in his mind, he's thinking his career is over. But after listening to him talk as we have before, and you just said you don't know if he harbors ill will towards Tomlin or anything.
Right.
When you listen to him talk, you just get the feeling that James Conner is the type of man who doesn't really harbor ill will. It seems like he just grinds and moves forward. And if it happened, we move on and we have a goal and we're just going to keep, marching towards that goal. So
been there, done that.
I, just like you, a huge James Conner fan out of Pitt. And
right,
because he got nothing but the best for the dude, man.
Because he got that shot in Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell, as we all remember.
And he
sat it out. And
he
so then
balled
he
out
was,
that year
until
too.
he had the dreaded high ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't finish. James Conner was like the darling waiver wire fantasy pickup of that year. He was terrific in that role in Pittsburgh. And then the next year didn't perform nearly as well. And that was the end of his tenure in Pittsburgh. And Arizona got him. And it was one of those, okay. All right.
And then
Chase Edmonds, Kenyon Drake, and him. And then Kenyon Drake wound up on the Raiders. And then it was just.
He became a touchdown machine.
He did.
Yeah.
Right around like week 3, week 4 of last year.
Yeah.
And now he's RB1. That's why I want to ask him, you are RB1. You are the starting running back. I don't think he's had that professionally. I don't think he's ever started week 1 as the RB1 of a team. Did he the year after 19? In Pittsburgh? Maybe. I'm just starting where you come out of training camp, it's your run game. It's your run room. James.
And that was his second year when he had the breakout 12 touchdowns. So... But yeah, 19, I'm not sure who was RB1 for the Steelers. Mm-hmm.
Let's take a break right here on the Rich Eisen Show, and the phone lines are lit. We are thrilled to see that. Still to come in hour number 3, Chris Brockman's got burning questions about every single team in the National Football League. Yes. We're going to run them down day by day right up until kickoff of next week.
Absolutely.
And then if you missed what Kyle Shanahan had to say yesterday about bringing Jimmy Garoppolo back as the backup to the quarterback who is replacing him.
Wow.
We'll talk about that in hour number 3 here on this very busy Wednesday edition, final day of August edition of The Rich Eisen Show. So I am mandated on behalf of New England fans everywhere, including the gentleman to my left, who you know is a New England fan, and also my wife.
I turned my back to him.
No, I understand you did.
Wow.
The difference is the tuck. Do you not believe the tuck rule was appropriately applied as it was written in the rulebook?
I do not. I feel like here's a interesting thing about it, the way I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I watch the news a lot. A lot of times you'll have, two economists on television, and they'll be talking about the economy. One will say the economy is doing great, and one will say it's in the tank. But you're like, oh, these are economists. They both have the same facts and figures, same numbers. How can they have differences of opinion, right? 2 + 2 is 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 + 2 is 4?
Yes.
Correct.
We're all in agreement.
Right. So when you look at the missed call, if you ask 100% of Saints fans, 100% of Rams fans, should it have been called, everybody would say yes.
Yes.
2 + 2 is 4.
Mm-hmm.
In our case, 2 + 2 is still 4, but they added 1. So 2 + 2 = 5. Why? Because they were able to add their own interpretation into it. So they took a play, 2 + 2 is 4, a fumble. They added their own interpretation and made it into incomplete pass.
Because they ruled it a fumble and came back and looked at it. He's just in the process of bringing it down when you hit it.
He was able to take the rule and justify why he overturned it. So if me and you were in a court of law and you're arguing that his arm was going forward, I would say, well, show me the part where his arm's going forward. You would show the tape, you see his arm going forward, and then you'd bring it back. And then I say, well, tell me, when did he fumble? Did he fumble while his arm was going forward? And you would have to tell me, no. He brought it when he brought it back into his body. Hence the tuck rule, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So was he bringing it back into his body, or was it into his body? So there's a technicality to it.
Hey, look.
So he wasn't bringing the ball back into his body. When I hit him, he had it, both hands on the ball. It's in his body. He ain't bringing it back into his body. It's a fumble. 2 + 2 is 4, unless you add 1. Then it's 5.
See, I thought you meant 2 + 2 is 5 because that's so many Super Bowls Tom Brady has won.
I like that. I can dig it. I can dig it. I love the fact that he's won 5 Super Bowls. I'm happy, and I'm actually happy for him. This guy. the fact that he's still here, is mind blowing.
I love him. What an a-hole, Chris Brockman. His history of a-holeness on our YouTube stream.
Is that one better than the Morgan Freeman one?
I'm surprised you didn't get slapped.
Oh, sassing Charles Woodson over the tuck rule, everybody. Well done.
That's not even the first time that's happened. The first time Charles did the old podcast we had at NFL, and I told him I was a Pats fan. He goes, well, why are you here? And I was like, okay.
Callaway Chrome Soft engineered Chrome Soft to be the best tour ball. And it didn't just make it the best players better. These golf balls have made everyone better. Men, women, first-time major winners, repeat major winners, club champions, business golfers. The Chrome Soft family is the best tour performance for every type of performance. The Chrome Soft regulars for the most players out there. Chrome Soft X, Chrome Soft XLS are for the more experienced players out there. Every Chrome Soft is enhanced with precision technology, which uses designs, techniques, and manufacturing specifications up to 1/1000th of an inch. This ensures they're the highest quality, most consistent, fastest golf balls possible. So when you add it all up, it's so simple. Chrome Soft is better for the best and better for everyone. Find out which Chrome Soft is right for you at CallawayGolf.com/Chrome Soft. Let's go to Bill in California here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up, Bill?
Hey, Rich.
How are you?
I'm a Niner fan.
All right. Your thoughts, sir?
The fan base is generally extremely impatient. I'm an outlier, though, because of my supreme patience regarding Trey's development this year.
Okay.
Do you remember how inconsistent Josh Allen was early in his career?
Sure.
He played only 2 years at Wyoming, 1 year more than Trey, and he completed just 56% of his passes. In his first year with the Bills, he completed 52%. In his second year, 58%, and 69% in 2020 when he fully arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only time I want to see Jimmy on the field this year is if Trey gets banged up.
That's it.
Regardless of wins and losses.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that is what appears to be the case, Bill, as to what Kyle Shanahan has set the table with. And we're going to play his sound bites, his highlights, if you will, of his press conference yesterday, his conference call yesterday with the media, explaining what happened and what he's told all the players and how he thinks it's going to work out. The question is how patient will he be, if the struggles are so significant that he'll have to turn to Garoppolo, and you just know if that happens, then you're going to have to rehabilitate Lance in many different ways that I hope doesn't happen, to be very honest with you, because that would be particularly harmful unless the 49ers win it all anyway. I agree with you that the ups and the downs have to be gone through. You got to go through them. You've got to navigate them. You've got to expect them, and then you've got to work through them, because that's what happens most of the time, unless he can come out of the box looking like Justin Herbert, looking like Mahomes, and looking like every other kid that came out of a first-round top 5 pick or top 6 pick and crushed it. That's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, and something else I want to make sure I say is that going forward, talking to you, Rich, will always be a special memory for me.
Thank you. Oh, my gosh. Right back at you, Bill. Thank you. That's Bill in California. That's so nice of you to say that. I appreciate that. Let's make sure. I wanted to get out of the conversation with Bill fast.
Before he said sight?
Before he said before he's punking me. Just kidding. It's exactly why I got out of that conversation very fast.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
All right, now I'm looking down at our call sheet here. Let me just set this up. This is the caller is indeed the individual. Okay,
indeed, yeah,
before we bring him in, let me just recount again what Susie and I saw on Saturday night here in Los Angeles, California. One of Susie's favorite bands. Okay, I don't think anybody tops in her world Bruce. Okay, Springsteen's number one, and then everyone else is down the list. There's Coldplay, who I've seen Bruce with her, and I've seen Coldplay with her. She's never seen the Killers, and she loves the Killers, and she's gotten me into the band, the Killers. And so I took her on Saturday night to Bank of California Stadium, the new soccer stadium. You've been there, right, Chris?
I've been there a few times. It is awesome.
It is awesome.
It is awesome.
And it's a hell of a venue, and I've never seen a concert there. But anyway, so we go to see the Killers, and Brandon Flowers just has the entire place in the palm of his hand. But he also has the presence of mind to look out in the crowd and see who's in the crowd. And there was an individual who held up a sign, and I don't want to, I think I remember exactly what it said, but we're going to find out exactly what it said in a moment. But it was an individual saying that he's suffering from cancer, and he can come up and he can play a song with the band. And he comes up and crushes it. They took him out of the crowd, and he crushed it. And I took a video of it because it was truly one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen. And I know bands take people out of the crowd sometimes and do, put them on the stage, but I've never seen this moment that I saw, because he not only crushed it, but he also was living his best life, fighting cancer and ready to play drums on Reasons, is what I think the sign said. And Reasons is shorthand for the song For Reasons Unknown, which wasn't, I don't believe, on the set list. And so I put that out there. Rex Chapman, God bless him, this is right up his alley of cleansing your timeline. He retweeted it, and it's gotten a lot of views. And is this, in fact, what's happening, Christopher?
His name is Joel. He's from Fresno, California. He's online too, Rich.
Joel, who was such a delight to see living his best life at the Killers concert, killing it like he was Ronnie Vanucci Jr., the actual drummer of the Killers, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Is this you, Joel?
Yeah, that's me.
How you? Congratulations! What a moment. Are you on cloud nine still, brother, or what?
Rich, I'm on another planet still, man. And I'm sitting in an infusion chair right now at the cancer center. And just, I mean, I can't imagine a happier life.
So, okay, you're a third grade teacher, correct, Joel? Is that what you do for a living? And
I do, yeah.
Okay, so what was your plan that night? Did you really think you were hopefully going to get up there that night on that stage?
Yeah, well, I mean, I acted as though I would because, I mean, you're always visualizing the end game. And so I made the sign. All my friends were there, you know, shining their cell phones on it. And we made a whole lot of new friends there in the pit who were eager to help because they all got in on the plan. I had some more signs with arrows on them, and my friends held those up too, pointing at me.
Okay. And your sign read exactly what? What did it say again, Joel?
Yeah, it said fighting cancer and ready to play drums on reasons.
I thought I saw that.
So, and you know, I wanted Brandon to know, like, I meant business. So I figured that was
well, then you showed everybody in that stadium you meant business. So do you play drums in a band? What's your background on that?
So it's been like 20 years since I've played with other people.
What?
I met my wife when I was touring with my band. And, you know, it's so funny because we used to walk around and people tell us, like, oh, my gosh, you're with the band. I want a picture with you. And me being the drummer, I was always the guy they gave the camera to because no one ever recognized me. But then my wife's a drummer, and she knew who to look for. And she didn't give a crap that I was in the band, which was so alluring.
Means you found the perfect partner. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Absolutely. She's my greasy wheel with this cancer fight, and always getting the grease.
Right. So the look on your face, I think you mouthed the words, I can't believe this, right? When you got up on the stage, when they took you up on the stage and put you on the drum set.
I looked right at her and said, oh, my gosh.
That's right. That's what it was, right?
And I was actually talking about just the drums themselves because, like, my first impression was like, man, these are nice.
Yeah, I bet. Yes, they were, I bet. And then you got in a zone, Joel. You were awesome. You were incredible. And I know so many people who were at that concert, and that's what we took out of it. Lindsey Buckingham showed up, to take part in the encore singing Go Your Own Way. And that was incredible, but that still was second to the best thing I saw that night, and that was you. And we're looking at the selfie and looking at you. Unbelievable. What did you say to those guys when it was all over? What did you say?
So when it was all over, they came and gave me a hug, and I just, in between breaths, I was like, you guys just added years to my life. So grateful.
What would you care to share with us? Sorry, what would you care to share with us about your fight right now, Joel?
So I'm 6 years into the fight. I have a rare cancer. It's a sarcoma, which makes up less than 1% of adult cancers, and I have one of 50-some variations of that. There's no known cure or treatment. In fact, I'm right now receiving an infusion for a kidney cancer medication. And, it's just clinical trial after trial. I mean, this cancer is so rare. I was actually misdiagnosed back in 2010. They thought I had a sports injury from doing triathlons. And I was like, no, I never got hurt. And they're like, well, come back in 5 years and we'll check it out again. And 5 years later, I got a I got a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. They'd gone from my leg to my lungs. And so if it had been caught soon enough, I could have maybe had surgery and been cancer-free. And, you know, I carry that, and that's a tough thing to live with, because I really love the person I get to be now. You know, Saturday night wouldn't have happened if that hadn't happened to me. And it's just like, when you're faced with a ticking clock that's that loud, the whole world gets a lot more colorful, and opportunities to take chances and, you know, dream big it's not really optional. It's just like you got to just get out there and take it.
Well, Joel Stetler, you took it, and I will never forget it, nor will my wife, nor will anybody in that place. And I know just seeing you take advantage of that moment or live your best moment there, you were terrific. It was great. And just seeing how the band reacted and how the crowd reacted, it was just awesome.
It was a beautiful moment, and everyone in the pit was giving me high fives after. I was like, okay, we're all family now. Like, we're pit family. Sorry for blocking your view for the first half of the show.
With all my arrows?
That's awesome.
With all my arrows.
You said yesterday or the day before when you were talking about the concert, you quoted, I think it was Wayne Gretzky.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I was talking with my wife about that, and I think my biggest takeaway from what you were saying was, and I'm going to tell this to everyone I know now, you got to live your life, you got to take chances, so that when people talk about what you did, they've got to quote Wayne Gretzky when they do it.
Like I said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but you also can make 100% of the moment that you have in front of you when you get the opportunity. And it's so difficult to do that. It's so difficult to just say, go for it. And it's so difficult to live in the moment and crush it. And that's what I took away from it. That's what my wife, Susie, took away from it. And I think that's what everybody took away from it. Truly, I've met people who were at the concert through, you know, or didn't know that my friends were there. That's all they were talking about were you, Joel. And it's true. They would talk about you and your moment, and I will never forget it. And let's now we're in contact here. Let's stay in touch. Okay, Joel? Let's do that.
I'm for it.
Okay, I'm going to follow you on Twitter, and then let's exchange information and whatever I can do to help. I know you've got a foundation, right? Running Buddies Project. I've got about a minute and a half before my radio stations jump, but what can you tell me?
Running Buddies was a project that we definitely kind of went for there, but I'm mostly excited to be supporting the Brave Like Gabe organization. And a couple others that I'll tell you about later.
Okay. Well, everyone can follow you at Hey_Mr_Stetler. And your third grade students must have a great time in your class and have their future made brighter and their minds expanded and their hearts bigger. And my world is better for having seen your performance, which it was. And I appreciate you reaching out, man. And I'm so glad that we are going to be in contact now. Joel.
Oh, man, me too. Thank you so much, Rich.
You bet. Be well.
Fine, Joel.
Yeah, and thanks for calling in and sharing your story.
Keep it up, Joel.
Beautiful. That's my new friend, Joel.
That was awesome.
But wouldn't you say he's kind of like our friend now?
Yes.
Like you're here, Mr. Hand. And,
yes. It's all our time right here.
Great.
That's amazing, though, yeah. For him to be in that situation and still have that outlook on life is incredible.
Let's take a break. Hour number 3 of this show coming up next right here on The Rich Eisen Show. All about your phone calls as well.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
You got a big surprise coming to you.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
Bruce Arians, I'm sure you've heard a lot of the conversation about why you stepped aside and how you and Brady didn't get along.
We've got a great relationship, and it's never been soured.
The Rich Eisen Show. Earlier on the show, NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero, Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, plus Cardinals running back James Conner. Coming up, your phone calls, latest news, and more. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Oh, man. Welcome hour number 3 of the Rich Eisen Show. We're wide open for your phone calls. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Also on in this hour, reviewing Kyle Shanahan's press conference yesterday in light of sticking around with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's still there in the same quarterback room with the starting quarterback whose job Jimmy took last year, or he took Jimmy's job this year. Jimmy's not upset. I mean, to use the Seinfeld phrase, it's all copacetic. So that's coming up in this hour. Chris Brockman shortly with a new segment here on this program, Burning Questions. Chris Brockman's Burning Questions, right?
That's right.
We have a drop for it too, do we?
Yeah, I think so. We got a little production value.
All right, it's coming up. It's coming up. You get that ready, Felly. You get that ready, Felly. TJ Jefferson, good to see you over there. What an hour we just had. Mark Andrews of the Ravens, James Conner of the Cardinals. And then our new friend of the program, his name is Joel Stetler. He's a third-grade teacher in Fresno, California, calling from, as he said, a fusion chair. He's the guy that I, along with Susie, we saw him take the stage of the Killers concert on Saturday night, holding up a sign saying that he wants to come on stage. He's fighting cancer. He wants to come on stage and play a song with the band. He did. He was so great at it. The whole place went nuts. I tweeted out a video of it. And he saw that, heard our conversation on our show earlier this week, and just called in. Man, did we have a wonderful chat with him. And if you missed it, go to our YouTube stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. The 457s in the chat room are sitting there and commenting on everything. And I heard during the commercial break in hour number 2 words that normally would, I think, frighten most men on planet Earth is... Your wife is in the chat room. And so Susan's she's been active in the YouTube chat room this morning. She also texted me about a Rich Eisen Show fantasy league. Like, what are we doing? She wants to start.
There have been behind the scenes discussions about having a show fantasy league. As TJ will point out to anyone who will listen, he's been trying to do this with us for years, and no one has really been interested. So
that's because how many leagues are you in?
I'm in one that I actually care about, but we do the Alice in Chains League.
That's 2.
And I do Pick'ems. I do Survivor.
You're now in this third one with Joe
I'm now in a
Trulio.
third crazy one. I gamble. Like, I got a lot going on.
Yeah, I gamble.
How old are you?
42.
And you got a lot of ass going on.
I don't
have a problem.
So, adding another league to all of that is, a lot.
I mean, you gotta have time to gamble.
I really need to focus. I need to have a good fall.
He enjoys
That's all I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah.
Why?
He put a pool in, so
Oh, is that what it is?
Well,
you're not betting that much money that it would pay for a pool, is it, Chris?
Absolutely not, Rich. Absolutely not. However, that's not nothing.
Well, I mean, but. So what would this fantasy league be? It would just be amongst us, and then we would invite fans to join us?
No, I think it's just going to be everyone here who works on the show.
Then,
Susie, some of our fill-ins, Ryan Leaf, Ben Lyons.
I see what she's... That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, because normally Susie's always about involving our fans.
Oh, we can get the fans involved, but we were originally...
I don't think she really cares about being in a fantasy league with us.
We were originally talking about just like the staff.
No, I know that.
Staff league.
Yeah.
But just knowing Susie, her interest in it would not be that she wants a team.
Let me ask her in the chat instead of texting her.
I think her interest would be you should involve some of the fans to get give away a spot or two for a fan to compete with us. That would make things more interesting to me.
You could have a team or a couple teams where you let someone coach the team that week, even.
Oh.
Who? A fan?
A fan, like switch it up every week.
You mean
that's your team.
That's your team.
You can do that with your team.
That's your team.
All right, that's my problem.
I mean, if we're going to actually do it, I'm not going to... I'm a control freak for a living. I'm not giving up the steering wheel to somebody I don't know.
My team, but
that's like saying, you know what? I'm here at the blackjack table. I'm just going to give up that third base position to just bring anybody over here in Vegas.
You know, during one of
Kevin Federline looking dude, come over here.
During one of Jason's many back surgeries, he trusted me to run his fantasy team while he was
that's different.
Hopped up on something.
That's different. That's not what we're talking about here.
It's just morphine.
You won that week, though, right?
It was just morphine.
It's the morphine talking.
Yeah, but so I won for him. Big deal.
Yeah, like he knows you. It's not some random individual that you don't know.
That's a good point.
Now, you would assume a fan of this program has the proper sensibilities to hand a team over to, but even I would not do that.
Well, I didn't mean your team. I think designate a couple teams.
I think.
We have a 16-team league?
I think we have a 10 to 12 team league. If we do this, and then
12's good.
The only way I would do it is if we involve fans, like that. We somehow randomly select a fan, or we have fans call in and
make the case.
Make a case. Because we can't have people do this and then not run the team. As you know, I've kicked members of this show out of a league that we do because they didn't pay attention.
So you're gonna have like auditions for this?
Our own family has tasted my wrath. My own family.
Thank you.
Has tasted my scorn because there wasn't enough focus on the roster.
You had a lot of ass going on.
Everyone's got a lot of ass going on. So I turned it over to my 10-year-old who didn't have nearly as much ass going on. He's got nothing going on. He's usually taking an S when we got to get out of the house.
Wow.
Hey, come on. He's at school right now. It's his first day. He's not listening.
Oh, man.
He has no idea.
He should be. I mean, come on.
This fantasy started. Remember when Jodie Foster came on back in like 18?
Yes.
My favorite actress.
This is what started it.
We got to talking, and she had said how much of a Devontae Adams fan she was.
Yes,
and then I asked her in the green room, I was just joking. I was like, if we do a fantasy league, are you in? She was like, yeah. So that was like my whole thing. Like, I wanted to be in a fantasy with Jodie Foster, and then for years you guys kept saying no.
You've never said that.
No, please. No. It's been
well,
said.
He said it to me, and I just quickly
it's been said.
Do you want us to reach out to Jodie Foster to give her a spot?
I mean,
how about it's us, Jodie Foster, and a fan?
If Jodie Foster's going to play, then I'm in. If we get Jodie Foster in, then I'm in.
Is that the league name?
Matter of fact,
us, Jodie Foster, and a fan?
Jodie Foster could be my co-captain.
Okay, so us, Jodie Foster, and a fan walk into a bar.
Walk into a bar.
And our team name is Have the Lamb Stop Screaming Clarice. I mean, it's just right there. It's there for you.
I would name my team Lotion in the Basket.
I like that.
Okay. Or multiple MIGs.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Okay, very good.
Wow.
Or else it gets the hose again.
Let's get to this new segment, shall we?
Let's do it.
We've got a new segment on this program, which means Brockman thought about it, for about 2 days, and I'm like, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, sure. No, you've been cultivating this.
No, and this is something that I used to write at my old column when I had a newspaper. When I worked at a newspaper in Maine, I had a website, and so I've been doing this for a long time, but haven't brought it here in quite some time.
So Brockman is regifting the Rich Eisen show.
Yes.
With something from his archives. Is this what made you an award winner? Did you win an award for your column writing back in the day?
No, I wrote an award. I won an award for movie reviews.
Oh.
In which I reviewed Ghost Rider, which starred Nicolas Cage, who later became the inspiration for my son's name. So how about that?
And so,
full circle.
Oh,
wow. You reviewed one movie and it got you an award?
Critics' Choice Award. Thank you very much. Maine Press Association Critics' Choice Award.
All you had to do was review one movie? It wasn't all bunch of movies?
No, that was the one I submitted.
Huh.
It was one that you submit.
Very
but then
good.
I was Maine Sports Columnist of the Year for like a March Madness preview column.
So you're just not some Jamoke walking off the street.
Most days.
Here we go. It's called Brockman's Burning Questions.
And so it's in the order of, I'm doing reverse order of kind of like preseason power rankings. So we're starting at 32, who I think is the bottom team in the league.
Right.
And we're getting all the way to number 1 next Thursday for the kickoff.
So it's 5 teams at a time? Is that what it is? 6 teams at a
So
time?
I'm doing 7 first and then 5 a day until the season starts.
Very good. So this is the
Bottom 7.
Bottom 7 of the NFL, and a burning question for each. It's time for the first installment of Brockman's Burning Questions.
Brockman's burning questions.
That's a fire. That's great. Fantastic. Everything about that is awesome. All right, let's start at the bottom, guys. The 32nd team.
You doing the Night King sort
yeah,
of
I was
look?
kind of doing the
Okay.
Night King. Well, it's like sizzling, like Gilbert Arenas back in the day.
Floor is yours, sir.
Hibachi.
Floor is yours.
I'm starting at the bottom. I think the number 32 team heading into the year is the Seattle Seahawks. And my burning question for these guys is just quite simple. How long will they stick with the Geno and Drew Lock combo? Because at some point they need to get a move here at quarterback. And whether that will be Jimmy Garoppolo later on or someone else in the trade market before the October deadline, it just doesn't seem feasible that they can stick with these two guys going forward unless they are in full-on tank mode for Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or one of those guys in next year's draft.
Well, I think, if you don't mind, this is the first burning question. I think the burning question is how long will they stick with Geno? Because they're going to stick with the Geno lock for 17 weeks. 17 games, 18 weeks. If it's not working out, last thing they're going to do is trade for another quarterback to save a season that's best to be tanked. So the question is
maybe,
do they really believe in the Geno lock as the answer? Like, to me, Geno starting, they deep down, if you put sodium pentothal into Pete Carroll's gum. Like if you got a stick of gum and you injected sodium pentothal into it, right?
Yeah.
And so he chews it and he's got to tell you really what is on his mind. He believes that Geno and Locke can get this team to the playoffs. Win a Super Bowl, he'd probably be like, I don't know about that. This is not our year for that. But the question is how long can Geno last? Because at some point, I think Locke's going to get a shot this year. And they might not be 32 overall, but interesting that you choose them that way. So 31 is the Bears. You going Bears next at this one?
I'm going Texans 31.
Texans that's low.
31.
Okay.
Well, I've seen some mock drafts where they're number one and they're taking a quarterback. But I don't want to do every question about the quarterbacks. But for me, it's basically just how many wins will it take to shake the Watson stink? Like, Deshaun Watson is going to loom over this team, I think, for quite some time, just because of the way he sat out last year. The Texans settled suits that weren't even brought against them. But just how many wins will it take? We know winning is the ultimate deodorant. So how many will it take to kind of shake that Watson stink this year for Houston?
How many wins would it take?
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah. The Watson stink is Watson's in their rearview mirror. They're all gone.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I would say I think the Texans are going to win 5-6 games this year.
Wow.
It's a lot. I don't think they're that bad. They got 22 new players in their roster. 22. They've turned it over. I think Lovie Smith is going to be better. I don't think the Texans are going to lose nearly as many games as you think. But I think that stink it's gone. I mean, Watson, the page is so turned. That's Cleveland's problem. That's a CP. That's not an HP.
They might be both there.
That's a CP. That's a Cleveland problem. That's not a Houston problem.
All right, number 30 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last season. Now here's my question. Was last season all on Urban?
Yes.
Or will this year be more of the same? I think that's a legitimate question to ask. It is a lot of the same roster. And so, was it really Urban, or is it just not a good football team?
It's Urban.
We're going to find out.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a better football team just in the mere fact that Etienne is on it, right? We're going to see what he can look like.
I think so.
Right.
But
that did not help Urban in the Jacksonville Jaguars case. But
that didn't help. But
Chris, let me just do this one more time.
Well, I like to tee up at things, Rich.
One more time. Week 4 is when he didn't go back with the team on the plane.
Is that what it was?
Look it up. If my memory serves, it was a Week 4 Thursday night football game. That's how fast things deteriorated for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. Didn't go back with the team on the plane.
It was Week 4 at Cincinnati.
And then over the following weekend, the video that went viral hit the internet and will sit there forever And this is after a training camp where we learned subsequently crazy things were happening on the football field of kicking a kicker and everything going on with making coaches defend their resumes, whether they were winners or losers or not.
You got mine, as a matter of fact.
Come on now. Come on now. Do I need to go in through everything through the playing season where the rookie quarterback goes up to the coach on the sidelines in Los Angeles and says, where's our running back who fumbled earlier in the game? And he's just like, I don't know. Let me check on that. Oh, yeah, put him back in the game. And then afterwards says, I wasn't the one who told everyone to bench him, and he did. And that was the game where the opposing team, the eventual Super Bowl champions, were accosted by the visiting team saying, save us. Get me out of here. You have no idea what's happening on that sideline. So,
I understand.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you need to see it from Russell Wilson, and I need to see it from the Jaguars.
Last year was on Urban.
All right,
it will not be more the same.
All right, number 29 are the Chicago Bears, who just made a bunch of moves on the waiver wire. They claimed 6 guys, including former first-round pick from the Raiders, Alex Leatherwood. But my question here is, just will another black and blue season do irreparable damage to Justin Fields?
Oh, man, that is a good question.
How much punishment can this guy take before it really stunts his growth? And because we think he can be a dynamic player in this league, he was the guy that I wanted the Patriots to draft last year instead of Mac Jones. So I'm just curious if he does take quite another beating this year, what that does for his long-term development.
You hit the bullseye on that question for the Bears, because the roster, the way it's currently constituted with 6 new players, usually when you pick up a lot of other people's cuts,
right?
You know, it means how happy were you with your roster during training camp, and now you're going to get these guys up to speed. Here come the 49ers to start the season. And if Fields doesn't have the weapons, doesn't have the protection, what does that do for his growth? Oh, my gosh, that is ultimately the spot-on question about the 2022 Bears. No doubt.
Number 28, I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons, another team people could think is kind of be at the bottom. I think they might have sleeper potential, but for me, it's who's going to run the football on this team, because when I look at their depth chart, it's not great when it comes to the running back position. You got Cordell Patterson. Yes, we know he's kind of a Swiss Army knife and can do it all, but he's not actually a running back, and he is over that 30 years of age mark for ball carriers. You got Damian Williams, who's on his 5th team, and Tyler Algier, who's a rookie. Just who's going to run the football to kind of take the pressure off Marcus Mariota, or if it does become Desmond Ridder, and kind of open up the passing lanes for Kyle Pitts to really have a breakout second year. Who's running the football?
That's my burning question for the Atlanta Falcons this year. Does Desmond Ridder start multiple games? That's it. Does Atlanta's season wind up with Arthur Smith saying, all right, Marcus and I go back to the Tennessee days. I gave him his shot. This kid Ridder, he could be ready. He was coming into this draft along with Kenny Pickett, believed to be the most pro-ready, the most mature. The ready could be aim fire right now this year for Atlanta. Does he start multiple games for Atlanta this year? And do they start that clock in 2022? That's my question for Atlanta.
Both guys look good in the preseason, so we'll see. Number 27 for me is the New York Football Giants. And for this one, I'm kind of looking at Saquon. Can Saquon save this team and his quarterback? Because it's a huge year for both of these guys.
Yes.
We know the option wasn't picked up on Daniel Jones, so he's playing for his future. And Saquon has looked great in the offseason, in the preseason when he's been out there. He's fully healthy, and he's back. They have a new head coach, an offensive-minded head coach. And can he save this team and Daniel Jones?
I think it's interesting you weave Saquon into your question. I think it is, though, just about Daniel Jones. Clearly, Saquon, being a second overall selected player, is somebody that we're still waiting to see him reach some of the status like Jonathan Taylor reached last year. He hasn't been healthy enough to do that. We need to see him dominate football games. Yes, that would help with Daniel Jones, but still, that's at a position that the Giants need to evaluate. The burning question for me is, will Brian Daboll be the answer to Daniel Jones's viability as a quarterback in the NFL? Because they have to make that decision. They got to make it fast this year. And And will the Giants be in a quarterback market next year? That's the burning question for
they're
them.
Back at square one. And will Saquon be on this team next year? I mean, he could be somewhere else if it doesn't go well. All right, lastly, I'm looking at the Detroit Lions, number 26. Basically, can they build on the Hard Knocks momentum? There's a lot of good feelings and good vibes around this team. We like Dan Campbell, but they're going with Jared Goff. They got a superstar, a young wide receiver. And I'm just wondering, can they build on it? Everyone's kind of excited about them heading into the year. We know they really competed and played hard, and they were in most games last season. And just can they keep that going into 2022?
Yeah, I just don't know if another plucky year is what they're looking for. We need to see some advancement. It can't just be, yeah, boy, this is a team that come back on you when they're down 17. Like it's time to win some football games in year 2, I'd imagine. Lions fans feel that way. Another good old plucky year where they're fun to watch in the summer on Hard Knocks. You got to do more than win Hard Knocks, which is what the Jets eventually did do. So we need to see that out of the Lions this year. Can they be a playoff team? Can they actually make a run and start beating some playoff teams and become one themselves this year? And is Aiden Hutchinson going to change the culture there potentially in the way that he did at Michigan? I mean, I can't wait to see that all play out. That's a burning question. I gave you a couple. You come up with just one, but those are your burning questions. Very good, Christopher.
Thank you.
And then tomorrow is
25 to 21.
Okay, there we go. And every day until we get to
kickoff next Thursday.
There you go. Chris Brockman, burning questions.
Let's go.
844-204-RICH number to dial is a number to call. We'll take your phone calls. And then Kyle Shanahan had some interesting things to say in explaining the decision the Niners made to keep Jimmy G after all and make Trey Lance understand he's the starter still. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show, Jeff in Detroit. Let's take his call since we were just talking about his Lions as part of Chris Brockman's Burning Questions. What do you got over there, Jeff? How you been?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's good to talk to you guys.
Same to you.
First of all, Chris Brockman replacing on your list. You were talking about a must-win situation, putting Matthew Stafford on that list. Hey, man, I'm right there with you. That is genius. Listen, I want to change it up a little bit. You had Joel on. If you don't understand humanity and what strength is, my goodness, that was a beautiful interview, dude. It really and truly was. And it made me, I'm silly. It made me kind of think, with him being a third grade teacher, does he sneak and teach the kids rock and roll in between classes and stuff like on School of Rock?
I love it. Yeah. A little Jack Black in him? I don't know.
Most definitely. Hey, and I forgot to tell you, you are truly, truly a hero here in Detroit, U of M. That Hall of Fame gig at Ohio, You're the man. You really are. The barbershops, everybody. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I said it with my chest.
Your pants down and had your Michigan drawers on.
I said it with my chest. TJ, you love that. I love it. You love that.
I mean, you did it, man. You did it. I was worried for you, though. I wanted to send security, but you made it out all right.
Well, I may need you next fall if they win. If they win next summer, I'll need you.
If next summer, Chris, we're definitely sending my boy Tadao and the Samoans with you, Rich.
We're all going.
We need to protect you.
Samoans?
I need to see that in person.
Yes.
Oh,
hey,
Jeff.
Uncle Rich.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Uncle Rich, real quick.
Yes.
If he makes it through and it's going to stick, the breakout star of Hard Knocks is none other than
Rodrigo.
Malcolm, right, Rodrigo. Mi amigo, Rodrigo.
Rodrigo's
Heard
the
it here
man.
first.
I like your
Mi
lines.
amigo,
this year,
Rodrigo.
Thank you so much. There you go, Jeff.
All right, Jeff.
Lions. Should we have Jeff do the call back at some point next week and do the Lions schedule?
Yes, absolutely.
1,000. The win,
You hear
loss,
that, Jeff?
Lions win-loss. We're going to have you call back next week, Jeff. Lions win-loss.
So get ready.
First up for them are the Philadelphia Eagles, who just traded Jalen Reagor away to the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh.
The Jalen Reagor Philadelphia experiment.
That was bad. That was a bad first-round pick.
So, how about this, by the way? Philadelphia Eagles fans, when Jalen Reagor would not catch a ball and dropped it, all he heard was Justin Jefferson, whose wide receiver room, Jalen Reagor, now toils in. How about that?
Learn something.
So the Vikings really won that one, right?
I guess so.
They got both guys.
I mean, that is wild. How crazy is this NFL world? You can't make stuff up. Back here on our terrestrial radio outfit, just talking about the trade that went down moments ago, is the Philadelphia Eagles sending Jalen Reagor to Minnesota. And anybody who's been watching Philadelphia Eagles fans and their reaction to Reagor ever since he was drafted, and Justin Jefferson did what he did, Jalen Reagor's name in Philadelphia every single time he did not perform up to snuff, his name wasn't Jalen Reagor, his name was not Justin Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Every catch, every single moment Justin Jefferson had just cast the spotlight on Reagor's inability to succeed remotely close to that and perform remotely close to Jefferson's performance. It just made that spotlight even hotter. And now he's in the same draft room as the Vikings pull off the trade with Philadelphia. He's in the same wide receiver room now. They're teammates, Jefferson and Reagor. That famous video that got out there because it was the draft, it was the pandemic draft, right?
That's 20, yeah.
Right? When everybody's on Zoom, and you could look it up on YouTube. It's Zimmer, the coach at the time, and it's Rick Spielman, the GM at the time, and others on the screen when they got the word, because teams hear when they're on the clock who's about to be announced at the draft, because they get a heads-up notice so they could start their processes right away about who they're going to choose, knowing who's just been removed off the board. They got the call that it was Reagor, not Justin Jefferson, right? And they started laughing, right? Isn't that video?
Yeah. They cheered and clapped.
Didn't they? And then they went.
They turned in their pick immediately.
And now Reagor's on the Vikings.
Unreal.
I mean, I do not think at all that this is a sign of the Eagles' dysfunction at the moment. The Eagles are terrific. The Eagles
we can hope it's
Eagles
a sign.
have a stupendous roster that they get high quality, consistent quarterback play from Jalen Hurts, and this team's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I would say there was probably not many targets left for Jalen Reagor in that offense.
Right. And you might as well get him out because the Eagles fans are they're done with him.
Yes.
But the fact that he was chosen over Justin Jefferson stuck in the craw of so many Eagles fans, and now he's been traded to the team that has Justin Jefferson. Can't make it up. Cannot make this up.
Hey, TJ, good news for our fantasy team with Joe Latrulio's league. Darren Waller back at practice today.
I told you, don't worry about it.
And
it's going to be all right.
He's got a new agent, Drew Rosenhaus.
Oh.
Get that deal done, Drew. Come on.
Here we go. Come on, push it out. Everything you got. Everything you got. Everything you got.
What's that?
That's Joe Latrulio from Superbad.
Nice.
No, that's a super
how
bad.
I know him.
That's
That's I love you, man.
I love you, man.
I love you, man.
I love you, man. Yeah.
So when you say get that deal done, you're talking about Waller getting a long-term deal done there, or to be traded to Miami?
No, to get a long-term.
Okay, because
yeah. Waller wants a new extension.
that's what Rosenhaus does. Rosenhaus does one of two things. He gets a long-term deal for somebody where they currently work, or
Gets him to Miami.
No,
Waller wants to be the highest-paid tight end, which I think he deserves.
You want him happy for your team.
I want him
whatever
happy for our
called.
fantasy team.
Whatever it's going to be called.
I want double-digit TDs.
Let's go.
While we're on the subject, if you can't make this stuff up, Jimmy Garoppolo stays with the 49ers as the backup quarterback, taking an $18 million pay cut on his base salary to stay put and be the backup to the quarterback who supplanted him. And Trey Lance's ascension to QB1 put Garoppolo on the trade block. The team back in May gave him the opportunity to start seeking a trade. That's how long he was looking for trade. And he was able to, in looking for a trade partner, talk salary with him. The Niners are like, go find what you want. That's the least we could do to owe you. And then not only did he not get traded, they were ready to just basically go sit out the entire training camp season to see if anybody else was going to get hurt so he could be traded away then. Because the trade partners weren't making themselves available to the liking of everybody, I guess. Again, he wasn't even given updated practice material. They told him not to sit in team meetings.
Stay home.
They said, you're fourth on the depth chart behind Nate Sudfeld, who's now cut. Brock Purdy, who was apparently going to be the guy that was going to back up Trey Lance before this deal happened. He was Mr. Irrelevant, right? Brock Purdy?
Brock Purdy, 262nd overall.
In last year's draft, right?
Correct.
They're ready to go with Lance in year 2 and Mr. Irrelevant, the reigning Mr. Irrelevant. So that's why the Niners essentially jumped at the chance for Jimmy Garoppolo to stay. Kyle Shanahan explained it all in his press conference yesterday.
To me, it seems like everyone was just waiting for us to cut him before that, so they could see how much they could get him for. But once the last Saturday preseason game happened and no one got injured, then Jimmy thought this was his best situation that he liked, and that's why we were so pumped, because it's obviously a better situation for the Niners. We love getting Jimmy back, but to have him there earlier in camp wasn't an option. I mean, we weren't going to put him out there in practice for his sake and for our sake. I mean, he was on a $24 million contract, and he was going to go somewhere else. But none of that came into fruition, and which we would have ended up having to let him go under that current deal. That wasn't an option. But we were always clear to Jimmy that him salary cap wise and stuff in a backup role and supporting Trey in that, and if that worked for him, that was a no-brainer for us. We just didn't think the chances of that were going to happen, and it ended up being that way. And so when it was all said and done, even though it was pretty shocking to us, we thought it was a win-win for both sides.
Makes sense, doesn't it? It makes total, complete sense. Would you rather, Chris, I know you're shaking your head over there, would you rather go into the season with the reigning Mr. Irrelevant as the backup quarterback for your team, or Jimmy Garoppolo? Your answer, yes or no, is what? Your answer, yes or no, is what? Just go ahead and say
How much do I really care about the development of the guy I've said is going to be the starter?
Excuse me. I'm asking you in this box of, would you rather have the reigning Mr. Irrelevant as your backup quarterback of a team that can win the Super Bowl, or Jimmy Garoppolo as your backup quarterback with the salary that is commensurate with a backup quarterback of his caliber?
$6.5 million or like $400K?
Yes or no? What would you do?
I'd rather have Brock Purdy.
Come on, Chris.
Dude, like,
remove the Trey Lance from it.
You can't.
I'm asking you to do that for the moment. Just roll with me right here.
Yes, in a vacuum, you want Jimmy G as your backup.
There you go. Now, to your point, it is not a vacuum. It's not a vacuum at all. But the head coach believes he can create that vacuum.
That's insane, and
this
that's
is what he had
and insanity.
This is what he had to say about Lance handling the development.
Trey was great. I mean, there was no problems with it at all. I mean, I told him the exact same things that I told Jimmy. Why we were the options of bringing Jimmy here, that it had to be in a backup type deal, which Jimmy knew that was his option, and that was the only option. And we told that to Trey also. And I mean, Trey and Jimmy have a great relationship. I think Trey actually likes having Jimmy in the building, and Trey was very grateful to how Jimmy was to him last year. And we feel very strongly from the two people that Jimmy will give that back to Trey this year. He'll do for Trey what Jimmy did for him in the year before.
There you go, paying it forward. That as the kid that threw the first touchdown pass of the year for the 49ers, the starting quarterback, cool with it. As the kid who came in twice to start while the starting quarterback got hurt, the starting quarterback, cool with it. Starting quarterback, cool with all of Trey Lance wanting as many reps as possible, knowing that. The starting quarterback, cool with it. Now it's time for that same quarterback to still pay it forward, to not keep shoving the young quarterback to the point where the young quarterback feels like he needs to look over his shoulder, playing the role that Kurt Warner said he played for Eli Manning, which was when he came in and almost saved the team's bacon while the youngster was struggling. After Coach Coughlin turned to Eli when the team was 5-4, midseason, made the change to Kurt Warner. Kurt said he went to Coughlin after Kurt almost came back and won a game against the Ravens that Eli couldn't finish. Got to tell the press, I'm still the backup and Eli's still your guy. That's the role that Jimmy G needs to play in San Francisco, and it appears that that is the role that Kyle Shanahan expects him to play. Here's the issue. If I may give voice to what you're thinking, Christopher, you can do the same yourself in a moment. The question is, with that door of doubt, the dreaded door of doubt,
big door,
being there with Garoppolo's presence that would not have been had Brock Purdy been the backup. It's going to be Lance's gig, do or die, highs and lows, screw-ups and successes, no matter what, when the backup is the reigning Mr. Irrelevant. When it's the guy that took a team to the Super Bowl, was the quarterback of that team a few years ago, almost did it just last year, has the adoration of the entire locker room, and was the starting quarterback just last year, there's the door of doubt that we all believe must be somehow, somewhere in the mind of the head coach. Otherwise, this decision wouldn't have been made. That the decision isn't because, man, if the starter gets hurt, our season's over. We're not going to hand it off to a rookie. That was the last pick in the draft. We're not doing that. So we might as well have the old hand that everyone loves and doesn't need to learn the playbook or the locker room or the way to the office. Knows everything. Should have that guy. As long as he understands that's his role. A lot of people think, no, he's there because Lance might not be the guy. The door of doubt is somewhere within Shanahan's mind. So if that's the case, the burning question, Chris, if you don't mind me using your...
Well, we're getting to the Niners probably in a couple days.
Okay. Burning question is, what is the threshold of immaturity on the field? The threshold of inconsistency? Yep. The threshold of lack of success? Where does that threshold live in Kyle Shanahan's heart and mind?
What's the breaking point?
Where does that exist? Is it in wins and losses? Is it in the film where we're seeing, incomplete pass, interception across the field? Coach is seeing wide open guy in the flat. Take the profit. Can't go broke making a profit. Coach knows pre-snap, ball needed to go here. Post-snap, ball went elsewhere. We think, oh, wow, great throw at me elsewhere. Actually, it's a first down elsewhere. No, coach knows. Should have gone there.
Could have had a touchdown
right.
on the other side.
All of that stuff. Where is that threshold for Kyle Shanahan? That's the question. Unless there is no threshold and there is no do or doubt, it is Trey Lance's gig come hell or high water, and Garoppolo's there in case of emergency because Lance gets hurt. Season's not over.
Jimmy G starts how many games? 0.5 is your over-under.
I guess he'll start more than one because Lance, plays in a certain way that he might put his health at risk and he gets hurt. Question is does he get the job back if Garoppolo looks much cleaner, as one would expect a more veteran hand would?
Right. Man, fascinating.
John Lynch, scheduled to appear on tomorrow's edition of the Rich Eisen Show.
Oh, lovely.
Hall of Famer. I like him.
I like him too.
He's a good man.
Good man.
He is. Certainly when he says yes to when I say, hey, how'd you like to come on? The whole country's talking about your team and your decision.
Yeah,
But by the way, a hell of a deal for the 49ers. Expensive for a backup quarterback? Sure.
But it's not $24 million.
Not just any backup quarterback, though.
Let me explain something to you guys. Expensive for a backup, but Lord forbid your quarterback goes down with his ankle snapped out of his bone snapped out of his foot. You're glad to have that expensive backup. So again, it's a very important position.
The
I know we keep
scars
talking
of
about
Andy
the numbers.
Dalton and Ben DiNucci talking over there.
Come on,
that's the scars of Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci.
It's a problem you'd rather have.
Scars of Dalton.
Scars of DiNucci.
Scars of DiNucci is a great
It
fantasy
is really
team.
good.
And you're even with our jam-packed
I
sheet.
I like that one better.
Scars of
I like
DiNucci.
that one better.
He just bore to the viewing and listening public.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
His Scars of DiNucci.
TJ,
right
that's
there.
got to be your fantasy name this year.
Scars of DiNucci.
Scars of DiNucci.
You're not wrong.
I know him. So it's like it's a good position to be in. Because it's that saying, it's better to have a weapon and not need it than need a weapon and not have it. Like,
he's spouting dimes over there today.
Well, I'm
He's on
trying,
one.
man.
It's Wednesday.
I'm in pain over here. And
What are you in pain
Actually,
for?
he's hurting today.
my back is crushed from that car wreck I was in. Today is just one of those days, man.
Let me know if you needed a little Israeli man to walk on it.
Oh, I might. I hear he does wonders.
It's not as good as ear-holing Hockey.
Dude, we're going to have to cut
We
these
have a
down.
really tough
We got our
decision.
own cut-down day coming
We've
up.
got a really, really tough decision.
Paul Rudd, I think, will join us next week to name our teams. All right, let's take a break. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We'll wrap up this show, set up the rest of the week in a moment. I believe you are a fantasy football player. Is that a true story, Jodie Foster?
I am. I did not play last year because of the present administration. Was, I had to be on the top of that, and you can't get all those alerts all at once. It was just too much for me.
Too many badges on your phone.
Yes,
too many alerts
exactly.
on your phone.
I had to choose. I don't know. I think this year I'm going to choose fantasy for sure.
Well, I mean, it's an escape, though, right? I mean, when you
I
say
would not call it a mistake, an escape. I would call it a hyper-focused art form.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fantasy football is a hyper-focused.
If you're going to do it, you want to win.
Okay. Have you been so fortunate to win a fantasy league? Who are you in a fantasy league with?
A bunch of 16-year-olds. Yeah. Who else?
Like a random league?
Yeah. And I have to say, I do enjoy. None of them will trash talk with me because you can do that thing where you sort of type in like you're going down or
right.
And nobody will do that. They're just very polite.
16-year-olds being polite in a fantasy. So what's your team name? What was your fantasy team name?
I can't tell you.
Why
I'd
not?
have to kill you if I told you. And plus, I don't even remember.
Okay, because I would love to know. I mean, because that's most of the fun that we thought.
Is it? That's most of the fun?
It kind of is.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you finished in second.
I did come in second.
Do you recall who was on your team?
Well, I got seriously burned by Todd Gurley. It was his first, season with the Rams. He disappointed me pretty severely. That was a bad year to be holding Todd Gurley the entire time.
Do you have a real football team that you love?
Yes.
Okay.
I love the Green Bay Packers.
How'd that come about, Jodie?
Somebody gave me a cheese head and it was all over.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all it took.
Who was it? Was it De Niro? Did De Niro give you a cheese head? Who gave you the cheese head?
No, I have a friend of mine who has like an inn with them. So it was not just a cheese head, but it was a cheese head everything. So there was like a cheese mug and there was a cheese ring and there was a cheese headband. And
okay, so you got into that.
A cheese like dog outfits.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been to Lambeau Field? Have you ever been there?
Never have.
It's unbelievable.
That's what I've heard.
Because you're just in there. It's a Midwest town, and you're driving down the road, and there's a gas station. There's a Kmart. There is the cathedral of football where Lombardi used to play. And
I can dream. If I do well, if I do pretty well in fantasy, maybe I'll.
Maybe you can. You can do.
I've decided I discovered Devontae Adams. So, because I had him the whole year.
So
he's my guy. I call him my man, Devontae.
Does he know that?
He doesn't know that. Maybe he'll know it now.
Okay. So there you go. That's why TJ wants to be in a fantasy league with Jodie Foster. Let's do it. Let's reach out. Let's do it. And then we'll involve a fan, and then I'll have too many leagues. Back here on our program.
Wait, you can always name the trophy Jodie Foster.
Oh.
Could. Just like Jeff Van Gundy would. Back in college, right? That's one of my favorite moments is when he talked about her on the air during an NBA Finals game. A couple weeks later, we brought that up to the actual Jodie Foster. He's like, yeah, I don't remember. Totally threw him on the bus. And then Van Gundy said, like, Steve Kerr saw that and started giving him crap for it. Love it. It's just one of my prouder moments in the history of this program.
Shout out to Hoskins for pulling that up with the quickness.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Warren Sharp, our friend who was on the program, was it earlier this week, last week? The days blend.
It was last week.
Say that again?
It was last week.
Was it last week of Sharp football?
Yeah.
He's pointing out what Howie Roseman, the grocery shopper of the Philadelphia Eagles, is doing. Because they got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Saints yesterday. And then they trade away Jalen Reagor to the Minnesota Vikings today. And again, I understand that Reagor, as I pointed out, Reagor's name in Philadelphia isn't just mud, figuratively. It's also not Justin Jefferson. Okay? The fact that the Vikings snagged Justin Jefferson after the Eagles took Jalen Reagor, and Reagor is no longer on the team, and now he's a teammate of Justin Jefferson. And Jefferson is, one of the top receivers in the game, just 2 years into his career. By the way, he's about to get the A.J. Brown treatment the end of this year. The Vikings are going to have to pizzay him. That's coming up.
Also,
but the fact that he wasn't, he was not drafted by the Eagles, and the Eagles have now rectified that mistake in a way. You can't look back in the NFL. You got to look forward, which is, again, another reason why you can't just say Trey Lance is going to be this quarterback on the San Francisco 49ers after this year. You could sit there and say that and that they're going to stick with him. But, I mean, if Garoppolo gets in and does well and wins a Super Bowl, what are they going to do? You know, Jimmy G is just 30, right? I mean,
yeah.
Because you could sit here and say, well, that would be just a total waste of all those draft picks. Well, the people who, quote unquote, wasted the draft picks, they're halfway through not picking in the first round, and they have a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. Well, they have a roster that can win it. And then what if Garoppolo puts another trophy in the case? What are they going to, those guys are going to get fired because they wasted draft picks on Trey Lance? It's what the past is the past in the NFL. It's the present. It's the now. That's how you can go from worst to first in the NFL. So Howie Roseman, yeah. You hook him up to sodium pentothal. Does he want to trade Jalen Reagor to the Minnesota Vikings because he busted out on Justin Jefferson? Of course not. He'd rather have Justin Jefferson. A.J. Brown might not be on this team for all the gajillions of dollars if Justin Jefferson was balling out for the Eagles, right?
Also, let's be clear. The Eagles, that wasn't even the worst wide receiver pick of that draft. Like, the one that kicked it off, really.
N'Keal Harry instead of DK Metcalf?
No.
Oh, that was bad.
Henry Ruggs going first
instead of
CD
Lamb.
Instead of Jefferson or Lamb. Like,
yeah.
Probably should not have been Henry, especially now.
I guess what I mentioned was a different draft anyway. So Warren Sharp tweeting this out. Check it out. This is good. On Tuesday, the Eagles get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and a 7th. They give up 5 and a 6th. Today they give up Jalen Reagor, get another 7th, but get a 5th that could become a 4th. It's nearly the same amount of picks. And the deal that Howie Roseman got for Reagor, which was, again, a 7th and a 5th that could become a 4th. Dallas for Amari Cooper got 1/5 and a swap of 6th. Jeez. Now, Cooper's worth $20 million, which is probably why you're not getting the value in the draft.
That's true.
If you're getting that salary and Cleveland's taking that salary off your books.
That's true.
So it's not all in a vacuum, to use a phrase that you used earlier right there, but Howie's got to feel really good.
Yeah.
Man, is it all on Jalen Hurts' shoulders and arms and head and heart, or what? That's not a bad head, heart, and shoulders and arm and legs to rest him on.
Yeah, I mean, I said right after the draft that I hated what the Eagles did in the draft. Absolutely hated it because they got so good.
Jordan Davis is going to be a problem, and if Nakobe Dean's healthy, that's a heist.
Yeah,
him falling in the draft as far as he did, that is a heist.
I'd have been happy.
I would have been happy if the Jets had traded back into the first round for Nakobe Dean instead of Jermaine Johnson III, who I'm ready to root like crazy for.
You guys did all right, though.
I know we did, but I'm just pointing out how happy I would have been for my team if Nakobe Dean was a first rounder.
Didn't we give a deal to Nakobe Dean?
We did.
Yeah,
he was the final NIL deal for us after they won the whole shooting match. And I love talking to him. What has he got, like a 4.0 and some sort of engineering? Wasn't he an engineer or something like that? He's got a head on his shoulders.
I remember it was a good combo.
He's just so good. I just watched him like barking at the rest of his dogs on defense if they were in the wrong spot. They were all like, oh, okay.
Mechanical engineering.
Yeah, they didn't bark back at him. Nice move for the Eagles. Nice. Chad in Cincinnati, I've got about 30 seconds for you. Let's take your call. What's up, Chad?
Hey, Rich, how are you, bud?
What's going on?
Real quick, rapid fire. I love that idea about the fantasy draft for or fantasy league for the viewers. That'd be great. Maybe the winner could come in one day. The other question I have for you is, with Michigan football starting this week, you beat Ohio State last year. Do you have the same drive to beat them this year, or do you feel like once you kind of climb that Everest, you don't feel I don't know.
Oh, no, Chad, let me stop you. I am not the dog who caught the car and wondering what next. No, sir. No, sir. I am not wondering what next. I want to do it again and again and again because this time around, Chad, everybody in your state where you are right now thinks last year was a fluke. Can't wait to see that team from up north. We're going to beat them by 28. We're going to go crush them. They think this. They think that. That whole business. No.
I love it. No,
I need to follow up.
I love it. And next week, I would love to do the Cardinals schedule, like
call back.
Going one by one.
Oh, call back. We got Thursday and Friday. Call back Thursday, Friday. You go for it. Let's go. There you go. Thanks for the call, Chad. Call back tomorrow. We'll take your call. Take your call.
You're not one and done, Rich, with
this. I am. My chest still has speaking to do.
My favorite version of Richard Seth Eisen. This one.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And once again, to recount,
have I had enough? One's enough. You know what? Let me just remind everybody of something. Chris, do me a favor. You've got the Google machine in front of you.
What do I need to say?
Look up Michigan's all-time record against The Ohio State University.
Well, I mean, you're up, right? I think
yeah, by like 10.
Yeah.
Even with this dreadful, awful, nightmarish stretch since the calendar turned centuries. And we're in year 22 of this century.
You're up 8. Michigan leads 59, 51, and 6.
Okay, so let's just remind everybody. Oh, you just beat them once.
You lost the previous 8.
It's terrible. It's awful. Yeah. I know. And it just kills me that people are saying you're acting like I'm nouveau riche, right? Like
that's a Manganello term,
right? That I'm just completely new to this thing, and I can't act like I've been there before because I've never been there. No. John Cooper existed. Drums have been beaten by Michigan atop Ohio State in multiple years. It just hasn't happened recently.
In 8.
It's been a terrible stretch. I know it's been more than just 8.
Since 04.
It's been terrible.
Since 04.
It's been awful. Yeah. So is 1 enough? Of course not.
Well, 2001, you've only won 3 times.
Greed, for the lack of a better word, is good. And I have written a fat check in front of the great people of Stark County, Ohio.
Well, them big joints that you get on the game show.
Exactly. Like a publisher's clearinghouse.
You need
like
2 people to carry the check.
Yes,
like it's like a at the casino, and it's like you gotta hold it.
Me and Brockman will be holding the sides of the check.
It's like a ribbon cutting. It's like a ribbon cutting. Yes. Correct.
Like in Happy Gilmore, he's like, I want one of those big checks.
That's right. I wrote one of those Happy Gilmore big checks. So 1 is not enough. No. Going in the horseshoe this November and doing it again in front of everybody? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't even think about it. I'm jumping out of my skin over that possibility.
Like I said, being happy after a Michigan over Ohio State win made
just
coming
last
to work
year,
so much fun.
Could you imagine what it would be
if you did it again? Oh, baby.
That's my man right there.
I need one of them. I need one of those. I need one of those Mondays on the Rich Eisen show.
Like I said, the Rich Eisen that Michigan beats Ohio State, and Ohio State is a basketball school, and Notre Dame is a stepping stone, like all of these things.
The Roku executives that have been on this show have no idea what that Monday would look like.
DiCaprio at the end of Once Upon a Time.
Oh, my God.
DiCaprio be doing this, Brockman.
Honestly, I know how much content lives on Roku. I know what they've got. I know what they're building. Nothing in the history of that platform would match the fire I would bring to this chair. Does that answer your question, Chad in Cincinnati?
Ballin'.
That'll wrap it up for this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. On tomorrow's program, John Lynch will join us. We've got a lot more planned, and I haven't even hit that schmohawk in Citi Field dressed in a judge uniform for the Mets.
The truth
teller. Oh, my God. That's tomorrow. I can't wait to bring the fire and fury for that one.
Don't be mad.
I had that one in the chamber today. We just didn't get to it.
Didn't get to it, yeah. Let you sleep on it.
Oh. It did cause me to lose sleep last night. That's how, when you sent it out, I saw it, and I just was.
I know she didn't respond to my tweet.
And we didn't even talk about Judge hitting 51.
Judge 51.
51. All right.
Well, we'll talk about 52 tomorrow, hopefully.
Hey now.
See you on Thursday's show.